Lin Mu took the jade pendant, which felt warm and smooth in his palm, like holding a piece of heated jade. At the same moment, a system prompt popped up on his status panel instantly. Special item detected, Fudo Mayu Jade Pendant. Do you wish to activate the Fudo Mayu Jade Pendant to obtain Fudo Mayu Karmic Fire? Critical strike chance available. Note: activating the Fudo Mayu Jade Pendant requires the Mayu Mirror as a medium. There was a chance for a critical strike, yet activation demanded the Mayu Mirror. Right now, the Mayu Mirror was being used as the vessel sealing Shuten Doji. This is quite a predicament, Lin Mu muttered to himself. Senior, can we land a critical strike? Chen Lu leaned over, her eyes brimming with anticipation. Though she usually acted carefree, she thought quickly. She had caught on to Lin Mu's plan after hearing him ask Iase Yukino countless questions about karmic fire. We can. Lin Mu nodded without hiding the truth. Really? Then what are we waiting for? Trigger the critical strike at once. A single wisp of karmic fire won't be enough. If we get dozens from a critical hit, I'm certain we can burn that Shuten Doji to ashes. Chen Lu's eyes lit up immediately. There's a catch. Lin Mu shook his head with a bitter smile. What's wrong? Wan Wantong stepped forward, her gaze fixed on the jade pendant in Lin Mu's hand. We need the Mayu Mirror as a medium. The very mirror sealing Shuten Doji is required to activate the pendant and summon the karmic fire, Lin Mu explained. Silence fell over the group the second he finished speaking. So we have to retrieve the Mayu Mirror first to activate the pendant, get the karmic fire, and only then fight Shuten Doji? Chen Lu counted the steps on her fingers, her expression growing increasingly troubled. That's roughly the sequence, Lin Mu sighed. But the Mayu Mirror is holding Shuten Doji sealed right now. If we take the mirror, we'll be confronting him head-on. A trace of nervousness edged into Chen Lu's voice. Where exactly is the Mayu Mirror kept? Lin Mu turned to Iase Yukino beside them and asked. In the rear shrine hall. The seal binding Shuten Doji is there, and the Mayu Mirror, the core of the seal, hangs above the altar in that hall, Iase Yukino said with a complicated look. Then, that means we're walking straight into his lair? The demonic aura filling this shrine is so dense it's practically tangible. Chen Lu's eyes widened in shock. Even if we stay out here, Shuten Doji will break free eventually. The only difference is whether we fight him passively or take the initiative to confront him, Su Qingli stated calmly. But, Chen Lu tried to interject. Lu, even if we avoid going in, once Shuten Doji fully shatters the seal, he'll hunt us down. By then, we'll have no choice at all. Lin Mu cut her off. What's more, Shuten Doji hasn't fully broken free yet, and that's our biggest advantage. If he emerges in his full power to chase us later, that's when real trouble will start, Lin Mu went on. Chen Lu fell silent. She knew Lin Mu was right. Running away would not solve anything. It would only make the situation far worse. So you've already made up your mind? Head inside to retrieve the Mayu Mirror, activate the jade pendant on the spot for a critical strike, and use the karmic fire to fight Shuten Doji. When Wantong stared at Lin Mu earnestly. Yes, the sooner the better, ideally before he fully breaks the seal, Lin Mu nodded. Then let's go, when Wantong nodded in agreement. Just the two of us. Lin Mu blinked in surprise. You need physical contact to trigger the critical strike effect. That means I have to come inside with you, when Wantong said firmly. Lin Mu fell quiet for a moment before nodding, then glanced towards Su Qingli and Chen Lu. Don't worry, senior. Su Jie and I will find a safe spot to hide and won't get in your way. Chen Lu forced a relaxed tone. Don't talk about being a burden. Your safety is what matters most. Lin Mu reached out and tapped her forehead lightly. Chen Lu covered her forehead and finally cracked a small smile. Go on, we'll look after ourselves. Promise you'll come back alive. Su Qingli's voice remained soft and mild as ever. Yet her eyes held unwavering sincerity when she looked at Lin Mu. I promise, Lin Mu nodded in reply. Senior, I'll grow stronger. Next time, I won't hold you back anymore. Chen Lu vowed resolutely. Lin Mu smiled and held out both hands, taking Su Qingli's and Chen Lu's each in one palm. This was not the mechanical handhold used for critical strikes, but a warm, genuine grasp. His large hands completely wrapped around theirs, giving both a gentle, firm squeeze. Chen Lu froze for a second, her eyes growing misty, and squeezed his hand back hard. Su Qingli reacted far more calmly than Chen Lu, but she did not pull her hand away. She let him hold hers quietly, and even tightened her fingers slightly around his palm. Wait for me, Lin Mu said, then turned toward Wen Wantong. They exchanged a glance, then stepped past the Torii Gate's boundary together, entering the shrine shrouded in thick, demonic aura. Su Qingli stared down at her hand where Lin Mu had held it, tucking it back into her sleeve. Chun Lu was far less reserved. She pressed her hand to her chest, watching Lin Mu's retreating figure. In the next instant, both of their status panels flickered simultaneously. Bond Target Favorability Update Notification. Chun Lu Favorability +5, Current Favorability 53. Su Qingli Favorability +5, Current Favorability 30. Wen Wantong Favorability +2, Current Favorability 55. Chun Lu grinned when she saw the numbers on her panel. Su Jia. Look, our favorability went up again, she said. Su Qingli nodded, showing little emotion on her face. Do you think it'll jump up a ton more once Senior comes back out? Chun Lu tilted her head, her twin ponytails falling to one side. I can't say. Su Qingli replied in her usual concise manner. Meanwhile, Lin Mu and Wen Wantong had ventured deep into the shrine grounds. Would you two like to hide with me? You can come along if you want. I have a car parked in the lot nearby. The shrine maiden Iase Yukino suddenly spoke up. A car? That's perfect. We can hide far away. Chun Lu's face lit up. Thank you. Su Qingli offered a quiet word of gratitude. We should leave quickly. This place is far too dangerous. Iase Yukino hurried down the stone steps at a brisk jog. Su Qingli and Chun Lu rushed to follow behind her. On the other side, the moment Lin Mu and Wen Wantong stepped within the shrine's bounds, the world around them shifted entirely. Tides of black, demonic aura surged in from all directions, so dense it threatened to suffocate them. Luckily, both of them harbored demonic energy within their bodies. Ordinary people would not have lasted a single moment in this environment. Visibility plummeted to near zero. The black mist churned and roiled, constantly coalescing into twisted, faceless visages before dissolving back into fog. Stone lanterns lined the shrine path, barely visible through the haze, their flames long extinguished, leaving only cold stone structures. Stay close to me. Lin Mu's voice echoed faintly through the thick fog. When Wantong answered, quickening her pace to keep up. They had barely walked 10 steps when the path they'd taken vanished entirely behind them. The Torii Gate was swallowed whole by black mist, leaving nothing but unbroken darkness stretching in every direction. Teacher Wen, give me your hand, Lin Mu called out. Wen Wantong did not hesitate and held her hand out to him. Lin Mu's palm found hers accurately amid the blackness. Don't let go, Lin Mu said. I won't. Wen Wantong gripped his hand tightly. Lin Mu led Wen Wantong forward slowly through the thick, viscous demonic mist, their hands clasped together. Lin Mu, can you make out the path ahead? Wen Wantong's voice drifted faintly. I can. I activated True Sight. Lin Mu's voice carried from the darkness ahead. A quiet sense of relief washed over Wen Wantong. Though she could see nothing at all, knowing Lin Mu could navigate filled her with peace. Lin Mu truly had clear vision. With True Sight active, the once impenetrable black, demonic aura turned semi-transparent in his field of view. He could just barely make out the stone lanterns lining the walkway, even the faint outline of the main shrine hall far ahead. Thank goodness for True Sight. Otherwise we'd be blind, Wen Wantong whispered. However, the talisman timer is counting down faster. The system prompt says the harsh environmental conditions cut True Sight's duration from 1 hour down to just 10 minutes, Lin Mu told her. That's more than enough. We still have over 30 talismans left. Wen Wantong tried to reassure him. True, they'll hold us out until dawn if we haven't resolved things by then. Lin Mu trailed off mid-sentence, his unspoken worry clear. We will resolve this, Wen Wantong said firmly. Yeah, we will. Lin Mu gave her hand a tighter squeeze. The shrine path stretched far longer than either of them had expected. The stone lanterns flickered in and out of view through the mist, and the moss-covered stone slabs beneath their feet were slick. An unnatural silence hung heavy all around them, devoid of any sound save for the echo of their shared footsteps. After roughly 5 minutes of walking, Lin Mu suddenly froze in place. There's something ahead, Lin Mu warned her. Sure enough, 2 blurry silhouettes were rapidly taking shape within the demonic mist up ahead. Their forms were larger and far more contorted than the ghouls before. They were wreathed in exponentially thicker demonic aura. Once they fully stepped out from the fog, Lin Mu got a look at their true forms. 2 fully demonized ghouls, stripped of every trace of humanity. Pay homage to the Demon King, one ghoul rasped out in a hoarse voice. No intrusion permitted. The second ghoul spoke in a mechanical, monotone tone. Lin Mu's gaze hardened as he stared at the pair. Unlike the 3 ghouls they'd intercepted rushing toward the shrine earlier, these 2 had lingered inside the mist far longer, steeped in its power. Be careful, they're much stronger than the ones outside. Lin Mu lowered his voice to warn her. Wen Wantong said nothing. only squeezed his hand slightly harder to signal she was alert. She then gently let go of his grasp. Linmu understood her intent instantly. Demonic energy surge, activate. Chilling power flooded out from within his body, spreading through every limb and vessel. His strength stat of 79 rose to 118.5 under the 50% boost. Agility jumped from 64 to 96. Constitution climbed from 45 to 67.5, and Spirit surged from 78 to 117. Yet the second he activated Demonic Energy Surge, Lin Mu sensed something unnatural stirring inside him. The demonic energy in his veins churned restlessly, overcome with an instinctive sense of awe. It was as if a tiny stream stood before an endless ocean, nearly overwhelmed by the far vaster power radiating around them. Lin Mu drew a deep breath to steady his racing mind. The demonic energy he wielded had all been seized from ghouls, and every trace of that power ultimately traced back to a single source, Shuten Doji. Thankfully, he retained full command over his strength. Roar! The two ghouls lunged to attack without hesitation, blurring into black shadows empowered by the surrounding mist, their razor claws aimed straight for Lin Mu's throat. This was their domain, and they believed victory was assured. Unfortunately for them, their opponent was Lin Mu. A cold silver arc sliced through the darkness as his machete swung. The ghoul charging in the lead did not even have time to react before its head went flying from its shoulders. Its headless body continued surging forward for a few steps before crashing heavily. At that same moment, the second ghoul closed the distance, its claws tearing through the air with a shrill whistle. Lin Mu twisted his body to dodge the strike, sweeping his machete upward. He cut a sharp slash from the ghoul's abdomen all the way to its chest. Gray-black ichor sprayed outward in a geyser. The ghoul let out a piercing shriek, yet its claws still flailed. It scored a shallow gash across Lin Mu's forearm. Lin Mu frowned. These empowered ghouls possessed far greater vitality than ordinary ones. He raised his left palm toward the writhing monster and unleashed an air cannon. Boom! Backed by 117 points of spirit, the air cannon blasted the ghoul's upper body to fragments. Empowered ghoul times 2 eliminated. Experience gained, 120 times 2 pending settlement. Note, ghouls within this zone are blessed by the Demon King's demonic aura, granting 120 base experience each. You're hurt. When Wantong reclaimed his hand the instant she spotted the cut, her face draining of color. It's just a surface scratch, nothing serious. Lin Mu shook his head. Let me see. When Wantong lifted his arm to examine the wound closely. Only after confirming no sign of toxic infection did she release a relieved breath. She pulled a spare shirt from her backpack, tore off a clean strip, and wrapped the injury gently with careful movements. Luckily, it's only a scrape. If those claws had pierced all the way through, we'd be facing serious trouble, when Wantong said as she finished bandaging him. I'll be more careful next time. Lin Mu nodded. He bent to pick up 2 condensed demonic energy orbs from the ground, noticing they were noticeably larger and deeper in hue than the orbs dropped by regular ghouls. Condensed demonic energy orb empowered. Formed when ghouls perish under the Demon King's aura, contains twice the demonic energy of standard orbs. Double the energy, this is valuable. Lin Mu's eyes lit up. He wasted no time consuming 1 orb on the spot. Item used, condensed demonic energy orb empowered times 1. Favorability critical strike triggered. Current bond contact target. When Wantong, favorability 55. Random critical multiplier this activation, 18x. Demonic energy acquired. 36 2x base times 18x critical. Demonic energy, 178 214. 36 points in one go. When Wantong caught sight of the numbers. One of these equals 2 regular orbs. Lin Mu nodded and consumed the second orb as well. Item used, condensed demonic energy orb empowered times 1. Favorability critical strike triggered. Current bond contact target. When Wantong, favorability 55. Random critical multiplier this activation, 22x. Demonic energy acquired, 44. Demonic energy, 214 258. 258 points, enough to sustain demonic energy surge for 4 full hours. Lin Mu stared at his panel contentedly. Next came looting the fallen ghoul's spoils. The empowered variants dropped far more resources than ordinary ghouls. Loot acquired, lumber times 15/14. Favorability critical strike triggered. Current bond contact target. When Wantong, favorability 55. Random critical multipliers, 20x/18x. Lumber gained post-critical, 330/252. Total lumber, 582. Loot acquired. Iron chunks times 13/12. Favorability critical strike triggered. Random critical multipliers 22x/25x. Iron chunks gained post-critical 260/300. Total iron chunks 560. Their stockpiles of lumber and iron had grown considerably, yet this was not the moment to dwell on supplies. Lin Mu shifted his focus to settling the pending experience points. Settle pending experience points? Yes/no. He selected yes. Experience critical strike triggered. Current bond contact target. When Wantong. Favorability 55. Random critical multiplier this activation 35x. Base experience 240 120 times 2. Experience post-critical 8400. Player level up. LV.16 LV.17 2200 required for upgrade. 6200 overflow. Level reward. All stats +3. LV.17 LV.18 2400 required for upgrade. 3800 overflow. Level reward. All stats +3. LV.18 LV.19 2600 required for upgrade. 1200 overflow. Level reward. All stats +3. Current level. LV.19. Strength 7988. Agility 6473. Constitution 4554. Spirit 7887. He had leveled up 3 times in a single burst. Lin Mu checked his updated status panel, feeling surging new power well up inside his body as he clenched his fist. 88 strength, 73 agility, 54 constitution, 87 spirit. If he activated demonic energy surge once more, his stats would jump to 132 strength, 109.5 agility, 81 constitution, and 130.5 spirit. He did not dare claim he could stand evenly matched against a full-fledged Demon King with this build, yet it would at minimum buy him enough time to activate the Jade Pendant. Just as that thought crossed his mind, a fresh system notification popped onto his panel. Experience Sharing Bond Effect activated available recipients for shared experience. When Wantong, Chun Lu. Note: Chun Lu's favorability has surpassed 50, unlocking bond trait, experience sharing. Before Lin Mu could speak, when Wantong voiced her thought first. Share the experience with Lu Lu, she said almost instantly. Lin Mu glanced at her and nodded. They had reached the exact same conclusion. Chun Lu and Su Qingli were waiting safely outside. Though Chun Lu possessed 20 points of demonic energy, her base stats remained far too low. Even with a full stat boost, her combat capability was extremely limited, leaving the two girls with almost no way to defend themselves. Now that Chun Lu's favorability had broken the 50 threshold to unlock experience sharing, he could channel the excess experience to her and help her level rapidly. All right. Lin Mu nodded and selected Chun Lu from the sharing targets list. Sharing target selected. Chun Lu bond partner. Chun Lu receives shared EXP. 8400 by 20 shared EXP gained. 1680 player level up LV.1 LV.2 100 EXP required. 1580 overflow level up reward. All stats +2. LV.2 LV.3 200 EXP required. 1380 overflow level up reward. All stats +2 LV.3 LV.4 300 EXP required. 1080 overflow level up reward. All stats +2. LV.4 LV.5 400 EXP required. 680 overflow level up reward. All stats +2 LV.5 LV. 6 500 EXP required. 180 overflow level up reward. All stats +2. Current level. LV.6 strength. 616 agility. 818 constitution. 717 spirit. 818 he had shot straight up to level 6 with a total of 10 extra points across all stats. He wondered how Zhao Tai, the man with the iron chain build who'd painstakingly grinded his way only to level 4, would react if he knew about this. The parking lot outside the shrine. Ace Yukino's compact car had just started up and was heading for the parking lot exit. Silence hung thick inside the vehicle. Chun Lu huddled in the back seat, her gaze blankly fixed on the pitch-black shrine in the distance. Su Qingli sat beside her, the hem of her ancient-style dress spread across the seat, her face flickering in shadow beneath the streetlights. Ace Yukino gripped the steering wheel, glancing repeatedly at the two women in the rearview mirror. Are your two companions really going to be all right? The ghostly aura concentration inside that shrine is so dense ordinary people couldn't last a minute in there. Ace Yukino finally voiced her concern. They'll be fine. Senior Lin is far stronger than you can imagine, and Teacher Wen is powerful too. Chun Lu pulled her gaze away from the window, her tone unwavering. Ace Yukino parted her lips to argue, but looking into Chun Lu's eyes, she swallowed the words. She had no clue where these people came from, nor just how formidable the man named Lin Mu truly was. But the image of him slaying ghouls one after another was burned clear into her mind. 3 ghouls, cut down in less than 5 seconds. I hope you're right, Ace Yukino murmured softly. Just then, Chun Lu's body jolted violently. What's wrong? Su Qingli instantly noticed her odd state and asked. Chun Lu did not reply, her eyes wide and fixed rigidly on her status panel. Numbers on the interface flickered rapidly. From level 1 straight to level 6, 5 level ups in a row, far more outrageous than Teacher Wen's previous surge. I can't believe it. Chun Lu gaped, unable to form a coherent sentence. Su Qingli leaned over to glance at her panel, her expression completely calm and unshaken. Lin Mu shared his experience points with you, Su Qingli said. I know, but this amount is ridiculous. Chun Lu burst out, unable to contain her excitement. Ace Yukino jolted at her shout, nearly swerving the car off course. What's happening? Did something go wrong? Ace Yukino stared anxiously. Nothing's wrong, just focus on driving. Chun Lu quickly reassured her. Sister Su, look. I'm level 6 now. 16 strength, 18 agility, 17 constitution, 18 spirit. Does this mean I can fight ghouls head-on now? Chun Lu buzzed with excitement. Don't get carried away. Higher levels only raise your base stats. You still lack combat experience and skill proficiency. Raw numbers mean nothing without practice, Su Qingli warned her. I know that, but I finally have real strength to rely on. Chun Lu clenched her fists and waved them lightly. Before, all I could do was hide when ghouls showed up. Now I could at least stand my ground against one, right? You'll still need to run. Your top priority is staying alive, not throwing yourself into danger. Su Qingli poured cold water on her hopes without hesitation. I get it already. Chun Lu stuck out her tongue, yet a grin tugged persistently. She checked her panel once more, confirming the numbers were no hallucination. Senior Lin. Chun Lu whispered quietly, her finger brushing gently across the glowing stats on the panel as if caressing something irreplaceable. She understood these digits represented more than just power. They were proof that someone cared enough to shield her, even mid-battle deep within a dangerous shrine. Su Qingli stared at her own panel, her heart stirring with complicated emotions. Though Chun Lu was the one leveling up, she knew Lin Mu's protection extended to her as well. Bond partner favorability notification: Chun Lu favorability +5, current favorability 58, Su Qingli favorability +5, current favorability 35. Chun Lu, still wrapped up in warm feelings from the level surge, blinked in surprise at the new alert. I remember Teacher Wen's favorability is only 55, mine's already higher than hers. Chun Lu exclaimed in shock. Your bond level rises rapidly. Su Qingli replied blandly. Darn it. I wish I'd gone into the shrine with Senior Lin instead, Chun Lu sighed. At that exact moment, Lin Mu and Wen Wantong inside the shrine received the same notifications. Little Lu's hit 58 favorability now, higher than mine. Wen Wantong tightened her grip on Lin Mu's hand, a trace of reluctance lacing her tone. Watch out. More ghouls are approaching, Lin Mu alerted her. 2 figures thick with ghostly aura emerged from the swirling darkness ahead. Lin Mu tightened his machete, keeping his ghost aura enhancement active. 132 strength, 109.5 agility. He had grown even stronger since slaying the last pair. He swung once, severing the left ghoul's head clean off. A second slash bit deep into the right ghoul's shoulder, cleaving half its torso open as murky black blood gushed out. Neither ghoul let out a single shriek before collapsing. Ghoul ×2 enhanced slain EXP gained. 120 ×2 unsettled. He picked up 2 dark condensed ghost orbs, then reclaimed Wen Wantong's hand in his own and used the orbs immediately. Item used. Condensed ghost orb enhanced ×2 favorability critical hit triggered current bond contact. Wen Wantong. Favorability 55 random critical multipliers. 20x/16x ghost aura gained. 40/32 ghost aura total. 258, 330. 330 points. Enough to sustain ghost aura for 5.5 hours. Lin Mu glanced at his stat readout, satisfied. Next came looting the fallen enemies. Loot acquired. Timber ×14/16. Favorability critical hit triggered current bond contact. Wen Wantong. Favorability 55 random critical multipliers. 18x/22x timber gained. 252/352. Total timber. 604 loot acquired. Iron chunks ×12/14. Favorability critical hit triggered random critical multipliers. 20x/18x iron chunks gained. 240/252 total iron chunks. For 192, their stockpiles had swelled drastically, yet neither paid much mind to the resources. Lin Mu's focus locked onto the unsettled experience points. Settle EXP now? Yes/no. He selected yes. EXP critical hit triggered current bond contact. When Wantong. Favorability 55 random critical multiplier 28x. Base EXP 240 120 times 2 EXP after critical hit. 6720 player level up LV.19 LV.22,800 EXP required level up reward. All stats plus 3 LV.20 LV.21 3000 EXP required level up reward. All stats plus 3. Current level LV.21 strength. 8894 agility. 7379 constitution. 5460 spirit. 8793 level 21 now. When Wantong smiled warmly as she scanned the numbers. Though the power belonged to Lin Mu, his growth filled her with genuine joy. EXP sharing activated available sharing targets. When Wantong. Chen Lu sharing target selected. Chen Lu bond partner. Chen Lu receives shared EXP. 6,720 times 20. Shared EXP gained. 1344 player level up LV.6 LV.7600 EXP required level up reward. All stats plus 2 LV.7 LV.8 700 EXP required level up reward. All stats plus 2. Current level LV.8 strength. 1620 agility. 1822 constitution. 1721 spirit. 1822 Little Lu's level 8 now. The two of them will be far safer out there. When Wantong said with relief. Let's press deeper. Lin Mu squeezed her hand and moved forward together. As they ventured further, even the true sight granted by the reality talisman struggled to cut through the thick haze swirling all around. Lin Mu knew this meant they were drawing nearer to the bright King Mirror ceiling Shuten Doji, where ghostly aura saturated the air. They rounded the main hall, the rear shrine building growing closer, when 3 more ghouls emerged to block them. 3 foes ahead, Lin Mu halted his steps. Be careful. When Wantong gently pulled her hand free. I've got this, Lin Mu nodded confidently. Ghost aura enhancement flared, boosting his stats to 141 strength and 118.5 agility. A massive jump from his earlier fight. He could not fathom any opponent capable of overpowering him, not unless it was Shuten Doji himself. Lin Mu took 1 step forward. The 3 ghouls charged as one. The left ghoul lunged sideways, claws aimed for his throat. The right ghoul dropped low, targeting his legs. The middle ghoul bore down head-on, jaws stretched wide. Their formation was coordinated, leaving no openings. Lin Mu's speed outmatched theirs. 2 ghouls flew backward with severed necks before they could land a blow. The third was reduced to smoldering fragments by an air cannon channeled through his 139.5 spirit stat. Ghoul times 3 enhanced slain EXP gained. 120 times 3 unsettled, he collected 3 more dark, condensed ghost orbs. Retook when Wantong's hand, and activated them at once. Item used. Condensed ghost orb enhanced times 3. Favorability critical hit triggered current bond contact. When Wantong. Favorability 55 random critical multipliers. 25x divided by 18x divided by 22x ghost aura gained. 50/36/44 ghost aura total. 330 380 416 460. 460 points. 8 full hours of ghost aura. Not bad. Lin Mu commented evenly. Next came looting the 3 fallen ghouls. Loot acquired. Timber times 15/14/16. Favorability critical hit triggered current bond contact. When Wantong. Favorability 55 random critical multipliers. 20x divided by 18x divided by 22x timber gained. 300/252/352. Total timber. 904 loot acquired. Iron chunks times 13/12/14. Favorability critical hit triggered random critical multipliers. 22x divided by 20x divided by 18x iron chunks gained. 286/240/252. Total iron chunks. 778. Their reserves of timber and iron had ballooned to staggering amounts. Lin Mu did not even bother tallying the exact total. Settle EXP now? Yes/no. He chose yes. EXP critical hit triggered current bond contact. When Wantong. Favorability 55 random critical multiplier. 30x. Base EXP, 360 120 times 3 EXP after critical hit. 10800 player level up LV point, 21 LV point, 22 3300 EXP, required level up reward. All stats plus 4 LV point, 22 LV point, 23, 3600 EXP, required level up reward. All stats plus 4. LV point 23, LV point 24, 3900 EXP, required level up reward. All stats plus 4 current level, LV. 24 strength, 94 106 agility, 79 91 constitution, 60 72 spirit, 93 105. All stats jump by 4 this time. Lin Mu's eyes lit up. Level 21 is where the rewards shift. 3 per level before, now 4, an extra stat point each upgrade. When Wantong noted the change alongside him, Lin Mu nodded, drinking in the surging power. 106 strength, 91 agility, 72 constitution, 105 spirit. When Ghost Aura Enhancement activated, his stats rose to 159 strength, 136.5 agility, 108 constitution, and 157.5 spirit. Power on this scale far exceeded the limits of ordinary human capability. EXP sharing activated available sharing targets. When Wantong, Chen Lu sharing target selected, Chen Lu bond partner, Chen Lu, receives shared EXP, 10,800 times 20. Shared EXP gained, 2160 player level up LV.8, LV.9, 800 EXP, required level up reward. All stats plus 2 LV.9, LV.10, 900 EXP, required level up reward. All stats plus 2. Current level, LV. 10 strength, 2024 agility, 2226 constitution, 2125 spirit, 2226. Little Lu's hit level 10 now, when Wantong's voice brimmed with delight. Let's keep moving. We're nearly there. Lin Mu's expression turned solemn. Through the mist, he spotted the wide, open entrance of the rear shrine hall. The bright king mirror rested inside. Back in the shrine parking lot, the compact car rolled slowly toward the exit, its headlights cutting faint golden streaks through the night. Chen Lu sat rigid, staring blankly at the level-up notifications, still unable to process it. Chen Lu level, LV.10 strength, 24 agility, 26 constitution, 25 spirit, 26. She had shot from level 6 to 8, then straight to level 10 in less than 10 minutes total. Sister Su, pinch me. Chen Lu held out her arm. This isn't a dream. Your panel displays every stat clearly. You truly level 10. Su Qingli replied, faintly exasperated. If I activate Ghost Aura Enhancement for a 50% boost, that's 36 strength, 39 agility, 37.5 constitution, and 39 spirit. Chen Lu rattled off the numbers excitedly. Sister Su, do you think these stats are enough to take down a ghoul single-handedly? She blinked up at Su Qingli, eyes sparkling with hope. Your raw values are theoretically sufficient. But numbers alone don't make a warrior. You lack real combat experience and steady nerves under threat, Su Qingli stated plainly. My nerves are perfectly steady. Chen Lu mumbled. What's your first instinct when a ghoul appears? Su Qingli pressed. Hide behind Senior Lin. Chen Lu answered without hesitation, then flushed bright red the instant the words left her mouth. That's only because Senior Lin's always standing in front. I wouldn't steal his kills otherwise. She rushed to defend herself. And what if Lin Mu isn't around to shield you? Su Qingli followed up. Chen Lu's mouth fell open, no retort ready. That's why you need to train your resolve first. Until you can face a ghoul without freezing up, you can't claim you're ready to fight one alone. Su Qingli concluded. I'll get stronger. I won't keep dragging Senior Lin down, Chen Lu vowed. Su Qingli hesitated, wondering if she should offer comfort. Before she could speak, Ace Yukino in the driver's seat let out a sharp cry of alarm. Look ahead, both of you look. Her voice shook with fright. Chen Lu and Su Qingli snapped their heads forward in unison. A brutal battle unfolded dead in the middle of the road, drawing to its bloody end. The two sides clashing were survivors from the other 4 trains, 17 in total. They were pitted against 3 ghouls. Most of the 17 train passengers lay strewn lifeless across the asphalt. Chen Lu instantly picked out several familiar faces. A delivery rider had a fatal gash torn through his chest, frozen in terror. An office lady lay curled beneath a utility pole, her white shirt soaked dark red. Every single one of them was dead. Nearly all the fatal wounds marked their backs, clear proof they'd been hunted down while fleeing. 2 ghoul corpses also littered the pavement, murky black monster blood mixing with the victims' crimson. They had not fallen without cost. The group managed to slay 2 beasts before being wiped out. Yet the fight was far from finished. At the center of the road, Zhao Tai and his Iron Chain squad members struggled desperately against the last remaining ghoul. Zhao Tai's black windbreaker hung in tattered strips, deep gashes crisscrossing his body. Still he stood at the front line, swinging his machete to absorb every blow the ghoul threw. The 2 team members beside him, a man and a woman, each held different weapons, coordinating with Zhao Tai to harass the ghoul from the sides. Another female teammate knelt halfway back, using cloth strips to hastily bandage the wound on her leg. Further back lay Qian Dimeo, both of his legs severed at the knees. Strips torn from clothes were haphazardly wrapped around his stumps, soaked through with fresh blood. Yet flames still blazed in his right palm. Every swing sent a fireball hurtling toward the ghoul. But those flames grew smaller and fainter by the second. Flame palm, Qian Dimeo shouted in a hoarse voice. The wavering fireball drifted out from his palm, only fizzling out without so much as a spark upon hitting the ghoul's body. Deji, hold on, the young woman from the ashes cried, her voice trembling. She was the only teammate Qian Dimeo had left. Qian Dimeo said nothing, only staring fixedly at the ghoul, his eyes filled with terror and unwillingness. He dared not stop. He knew full well the truth. The moment he ceased attacking, the moment he lost his value, Zhao Tai and his crew would abandon him without hesitation. His legs were gone. He could not run. If he failed to prove he was useful enough, they would cast him aside for certain. Fire! Qian Dimeo lifted his hand once more, yet only a wisp of spark flickered to life in his palm before snuffing out with a soft puff. Zhao Tai, I can still fight. Just let me rest for a minute. No, 30 seconds. Only 30 seconds. Qian Dimeo scrambled to look up at Zhao Tai, his voice thick with panic. Zhao Tai did not turn around, nor did he respond. His full attention was locked on the ghoul before him, cold sweat dripping down his forehead. At level 4, he possessed 18 strength and 16 agility, yet he paled in comparison to the monster facing him. He would never know the thrill of overwhelming stat advantage that Lin Mu enjoyed. Not even Chen Lu at level 10, or Wen Wantong at level 6, could rival Lin Mu's power. They had managed to slay 2 ghouls before only through careful planning and superior numbers, and they had never faced more than one at a time. They had merely come to scout the area wreathed in black mist, only to stumble across 3 ghouls all at once. If he could turn back time, Zhao Tai would never have agreed to this scouting mission. But there were no second chances in this world. Sister Su, what do we do? Chen Lu glanced at the litter of corpses scattered across the ground and whispered, turn around and take another route. The car will outpace the ghouls. Su Qingli made a snap decision. Ace Yukino recovered from her shock and hurried to steer the car into a U-turn. Meanwhile, within the shrine, Lin Mu and Wen Wantong walked hand in hand across the threshold and into the rear hall. The first thing Lin Mu laid eyes on was a bronze mirror the size of a wash basin hanging above the altar. The mirror's surface shone smooth and unmarred, its rim carved densely with Sanskrit characters and depictions of Akela, the immovable king. Golden light surged forth from the mirror's surface, clashing violently against the thick, viscous black ghost energy surrounding it. A sizzling sound echoed where light and dark met, as though the two forces burned one another on contact. Yet Lin Mu spotted the flaw at once. The golden radiance was fading. Fine cracks spiderwebbed across the mirror's surface, as if something hammered against it from within. Peering through those fissures, Lin Mu caught a glimpse of a face. A hideously ferocious face. Crimson skin, 2 curved long horns sprouting from its forehead, a mouth stretched wide to its jawline lined with jagged fangs. Its eyes remained shut, yet its features still radiated unbridled brutality and killing intent. Shuten Doji. The ghost energy inside Lin Mu roiled wildly the instant he laid eyes on it. All the ghost energy he had harvested from slain ghouls strained to break free of his control, yearning to return to its source. Ace Yukino fumbled with the steering wheel, struggling to make the small car turn around on the narrow street. Panic only made her clumsier. Bang! The rear of the car slammed hard into a roadside utility pole, sending the whole vehicle jolting violently. Chen Lu and Su Qingli were thrown roughly across the back seat. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it. Ace Yukino's voice cracked with sobs, her whole body shaking. The crash rang out piercingly in the silent night. Zhao Tai, locked in battle with the ghouls not far off, snapped his head around. Even the ghoul halted its assault, its blood-red eyes locking onto the tiny vehicle. Ordinary civilians wandering around at a time like this? The wounded female crew member from the chain rumbled through gritted teeth. A flicker of savage rage flashed in the ghoul's eyes. It had tangled with these stubborn humans for far too long, growing endlessly irritated by the stalemate. The sight of an unprotected vehicle offered an outlet for its pent-up fury. Roar! The ghoul let out a thunderous howl, abandoning Zhao Tai's group entirely as it charged straight for the small car. It's going after the car. The female crew member from the chain gasped, her tone a mix of relief and pity. Zhao Tai's face paled. He instinctively moved to give chase, only to freeze mid-step. He glanced down at the wounds covering his body, then at his exhausted teammates and Qian Dimeo with his severed legs. He finally sighed and stayed put. We can only hope the people in that car survive, Zhao Tai said helplessly. Qian Dimeo sank heavily to the ground, heaving deep breaths of immense relief. Thank goodness that monster's gone. The young woman beside Qian Dimeo wept. While they rejoiced, a woman dressed in antique robes stepped out of the car. Her plain white gown fluttered gently in the night wind. Her long black hair secured simply with a hairpin, revealing a face cool and ethereal beyond measure. It was Su Qingli. She stood calmly before the vehicle, watching the roaring ghoul barrel toward her. She drew her sword and tossed the scabbard aside onto the pavement. Su Qingli? That's Su Qingli. The female crew member from the chain cried out in shock. The big celebrity? Has she lost her mind? That's a ghoul. Where's her teammate? That powerful man. Run! You can't fight that thing. Someone shouted without thinking. Su Qingli paid no heed to any of their shouts. Her sword stance was perfectly polished, honed through years of filming, every movement refined over countless rehearsals. Sadly, her base stats were barely above those of an average person. Such stage swordsmanship counted for nothing against a fully corrupted ghoul. Still, she did not take a single step backward. The ghoul drew closer, baring its jagged fangs, aiming straight for Su Qingli's slender neck. Su Qingli drew a deep breath, ready to swing her sword to meet the monster. Then a hand stretched out from beside her, resting lightly on her shoulder. Sister Su, let me handle this. Su Qingli turned to see Chun Lu's youthful face looking back at her. The twin-tailed JK girl stepped out from behind her, gripping a machete in her hands. Her hands trembled, her shoulders shook, even her knees quivered faintly. Are you sure you can do this? Su Qingli asked her earnestly. Chun Lu did not reply. She took a deep breath and muttered quiet encouragement to herself. Chun Lu, stay strong, prove your worth. Don't let senior brother down. Show him you're reliable. You deserve to stand beside him. The final word fell as she lifted her head sharply. She charged head-on toward the roaring ghoul. Chun Lu favorability +3, current favorability 61. A faint system notification flickered across her interface, unnoticed by Chun Lu. Ghost energy surge activated. Cold, malevolent power flooded her veins, boosting all her attributes by 50% in an instant. 36 strength, 39 agility, 37.5 constitution, 39 spirit. Her stats paled next to Lin Mu's, yet she was no longer the helpless schoolgirl she once was. Raw numbers meant little without battle experience. However, Chun Lu had never fought a real monster before. She closed the distance to the ghoul, gripped the machete with both hands, and hacked wildly at its body. Ayah! Chun Lu's screams echoed as her machete sliced through the air in chaotic arcs. Her first blow landed on the ghoul's arm, the second on its shoulder, the third raked across its chest. There was no technique to her strikes at all. She relied purely on her amplified stats to press forward recklessly. The ghoul was stunned by her reckless, unyielding ferocity. It lashed out with its claws, aiming for her throat. Yet Chun Lu's 39 agility far outmatched the monster's speed. With her stat advantage from Ghost Energy Surge, the ghoul's movements looked as slow as slowed footage to her eyes. She dodged instinctively, then struck back with another heavy slash. The blade sank 2 inches into the ghoul's neck. Though she lacked the force to sever it entirely, thick gray-black blood gushed from the wound. The ghoul let out a pained shriek and stumbled back 2 paces. For the first time, fear flickered in its eyes. How could such a delicate-looking girl move so fast and strike so hard? Meanwhile, Su Qingli did not stand idle. She observed carefully. She knew her low base stats left her unable to trade blows head-on with the monster. But she possessed trained sword skills. Over 5 years filming ancient Xinxia dramas like Cold Sword Light Sweeps 19 States, Moon over Chang'an, and Sword Immortal Codex, every sword motion had been etched into her muscle memory by fight choreographers. She waited for an opening. When the ghoul retreated under Chun Lu's assault, its unprotected side exposed itself perfectly. Su Qingli struck. Her iron sword thrust forward cleanly, targeting the weakest point on the ghoul's waist. Uft! The blade pierced 2 inches deep before she pulled it free in one fluid motion. It was not a fatal wound, yet the ghoul's movements seized up for a split second. Chen Lu seized the chance and brought her machete down once more. You thought you were unstoppable, huh? Another slash. Did you think you could hurt anyone you wanted? Yet another slash. Do you have any idea how hard it is to wash blood off this new skirt? Chen Lu's voice shifted from shaky cries to raw, venting shouts as her machete cut faster and harder. The ghoul staggered backward under her relentless strikes, its body covered in fresh gashes. Gray-black blood splattered across her cheeks, her pleated skirt, the ends of her twin tails, yet she paid it no mind. Only one thought burned in her mind. I cannot let senior brother down. Die. The machete sliced deep into the side of the ghoul's neck, lodging fast in its bone. The ghoul's body stiffened completely. Its jaws gaped to roar, yet only frothy, gray-black blood bubbled from its throat. It crashed heavily to the ground. Chen Lu froze mid-slash, gasping for ragged breaths. Her pleated skirt was soaked with dark blood, droplets dripping from the tips of her twin hair ties. The scene looked like a vivid painting. A brutal, striking work of art. A twin-tailed schoolgirl, blood-stained pleated skirt, machete dripping with monster ichor. Zhao Tai stared, dumbfounded. Qian Dimeo stared, dumbfounded. Every surviving member of the chain crew stood transfixed, unable to look away. That's the young girl from the family ship? Zhao Tai's voice came out dry and hoarse. He clearly remembered seeing the twin-tailed girl cowering behind Lin Mu on the platform, looking like nothing more than a fragile charge needing protection. Now she had single-handedly slain a ghoul. What kind of monsters make up the crew of the family ship? The female fencing-trained crew member from the chain muttered to herself. Qian Dimeo sat frozen, recalling how he had once tried to intimidate this group with his flame palm back on the platform. The memory struck him as utterly ridiculous. The youngest member of their crew could hunt ghouls alone with ease. Chen Lu finally snapped out of her battle-fueled adrenaline rush. She glanced at the blood-drenched machete in her hand, then the mangled ghoul corpse at her feet. Her limbs turned weak once the fight faded from her mind. Sister Su, I did it. Chen Lu forced a calm expression as she spoke to Su Qingli. You fought admirably. Su Qingli nodded, her tone full of sincere praise. She stepped forward and used the sleeve of her robe to gently wipe the blood from Chen Lu's cheeks. Her movements were soft and attentive, as if tending to her own younger sister. Chen Lu stood still and let her clean her face, her gaze fixed firmly on Su Qingli, unable to hold back a wide smile. Sister Su, was I cool back there? Passable. Only passable. I slashed it more than a dozen times. 0 points for sword technique. You relied entirely on brute strength. Still, your courage is commendable. As the two talked, Zhao Tai clasped his fists toward them in a gesture of gratitude. I owe you two my deepest thanks. We would have perished here today without your intervention. Zhao Tai spoke earnestly. Chen Lu nodded, offering no extra words. Her heart hammered wildly, her calves still trembling, and her grip on the machete wavered. Still, she strained to keep her expression calm and composed. Just then, Ace Yukino finally maneuvered the small car free from its position wedged against the utility pole. The car still runs, I checked. Only the taillight shattered. Can we leave now? This place terrifies me. There's blood everywhere. Ace Yukino's face remained pale, her voice still unsteady. Chen Lu bent down beside the ghoul's corpse to collect the condensed ghost energy orb. She collected the lumber and iron scraps the monster dropped upon death. Without Lin Mu present to trigger critical loot bonuses, she only gained basic low-tier materials, yet it was better than leaving them behind. Chen Lu and Su Qingli climbed back into the car, and the small vehicle pulled away. It vanished into the night shortly after. Zhao Tai watched the taillights disappear around the street corner, remaining silent for a long stretch of time. Zhao Ji, one of his female teammates, called out softly from behind him. Zhao Tai snapped back to reality. He glanced over the scattered bodies, then toward the towering column of black mist rising above the shrine in the distance, and let out a long, weary sigh. I won't forget the family ship. The small car rolled smoothly through the dark streets. Chen Lu leaned against Su Qingli's shoulder, all strength draining from her body once the tension of battle lifted. The reckless ferocity that had driven her against the ghoul vanished completely, her fingers trembling faintly. Sister Su. Chen Lu's voice sounded faint and distant. Su Qingli replied. Did I look ridiculous back there? Screaming the whole time I swung the blade, like a wild thing. Chen Lu reflected, embarrassment washing over her. Now that the rush was gone, she no longer thought she had looked impressive, only silly. You were not ridiculous. Few people can slay a ghoul on their first fight. That alone is extraordinary. I've worked with actors with over a decade of filming experience who shake uncontrollably their first time on wire stunts. You outshone all of them. Su Qingli said evenly. Really? Chen Lu blinked in surprise. Why would I lie to you? Su Qingli answered. I'm still so shaken, though. I didn't feel fear mid-fight, but now I keep replaying how its claws nearly caught my neck. Its claws were this long, this sharp. She held out her fingers to show the length, her voice trembling again. But you evaded every strike, Su Qingli reminded her. That was only because my agility stat is high. I won purely because of my boosted attributes. Chen Lu buried her face in the fabric of Su Qingli's sleeve. What's wrong with relying on your stats? Most people would give anything to have your power. Su Qingli patted the top of her head to soothe her. She had watched Lin Mu make the same comforting gesture countless times, and the motion felt awkward on her own hands. Chen Lu clearly cherished it, however, nuzzling lightly against her palm like a kitten being stroked gently. Oh, I just remembered a system notification popped up earlier. My favorability crossed 60, and it unlocked a new bond ability. Chen Lu calmed down enough to recall. She waved a hand in the air to pull up her status panel, and Su Qingli leaned over to read it alongside her. Bond target, Chen Lu, favorability exceeds 60, unlock new bond effect, critical surrogate experience points. Critical surrogate experience points. After the bond target gains experience points, they may trigger a random critical strike in place of the talent holder. All experience yielded from the critical strike is split evenly between the talent holder and this bond target. Critical surrogate? Does this mean from now on, whenever I earn experience points, I can trigger critical strikes for Senior Brother? And we each get half of the bonus experience. Chen Lu quickly grasped the ability's function. That matches the written description, though we should test it to confirm. Su Qingli nodded. Chen Lu pulled up the combat log from her recent ghoul kill right away. The entry clearly marked the experience as unsettled. Slay a corpse demon ×1. EXP obtained. 100 unsettled. All right, I'll give it a shot, Chen Lu said, her voice full of anticipation. She then initiated the settlement process. Settle EXP? Yes/no. Yes. Chen Lu shouted at the top of her lungs. It was as if the louder she yelled, the higher the critical damage multiplier would become. Settling EXP, bond effect, critical surrogate EXP, activated. Current favorability with bond target, 61, critical multiplier range, 161, random critical multiplier this time, 46x. Base EXP, 100, EXP after critical hit, 4600, EXP split equally. Talent bearer Lin Mu, gains, 2300, bond target, Chen Lu, gains, 2300. A 46x critical hit. I really am favored by Senior Brother, Chen Lu exclaimed excitedly. Right after that, the numbers on Chen Lu's status panel began to jump. Player level up, LV.10 LV.11 1000 EXP required for upgrade. Upgrade reward. All stats +2. LV.11 LV.12 1200 EXP required for upgrade. Upgrade reward. All stats +3. Current level. LV.12. Strength. 2429. Agility. 2631. Constitution. 2530. Spirit. 2631. I'm level 12 now. Before long, I might be able to fight side by side with Senior Brother, Chen Lu said excitedly. That day will come for all of us, Su Qingli replied. Meanwhile, in the rear shrine hall, Lin Mu had just suppressed the surging demonic energy inside him when his status panel suddenly vibrated. He watched as 2,300 EXP materialized out of nowhere. He stared blankly, utterly confused. EXP plus 2,300, source. Bond target, Chen Lu, activating critical surrogate EXP. Lin Mu's level did not rise, but the sudden massive influx of EXP left him stunned. He quickly pulled up his panel's log and pieced together what had happened. Chen Lu had slain a corpse demon alone, then used her newly unlocked critical surrogate to multiply the base 100 EXP by 46, splitting half the total with him. What's wrong? When Wantong noticed his strange expression and asked in a lowered voice. She too had only just calmed the roiling demonic energy within her body. Little Lu unlocked a new bond and took down a corpse demon on her own. Lin Mu showed her the log on his panel, sounding thoroughly surprised. When Wantong's gaze swept across the numbers behind her glasses, her eyes widening slightly before a relieved smile tugged at her lips. Lu can slay corpse demons by herself now. Thank goodness we shared EXP with her earlier. She and the others would have been in terrible danger if they'd run into one without that boost, when Wantong said, a trace of fear lingering in her tone. You're right. Now it's our turn. It's time to put an end to all of this. Lin Mu closed his panel and said. The two refocused their attention on the bright king's mirror before them. Its golden radiance faded visibly by the second, covered in an ever-spreading web of cracks. Through those fissures, Shuten Doji's face grew clearer and clearer. Crimson skin, curved long horns, a ferocious visage lined with jagged fangs. The Bright King's mirror was reaching its breaking point. Shuten Doji, sealed inside, could break free at any moment. Lin Mu laced his fingers through Wen Wantong's hand, and the pair stepped slowly toward the mirror, bearing down under the crushing pressure emanating from the demon within. Lin Mu's free hand closed around the immovable Bright King Jade orb. At that instant, Shuten Doji's eyes snapped open behind the mirror, locking straight onto Lin Mu. Those irises brimming with unbridled malice regarded him as nothing more than a trivial, overconfident ant. The demonic energy Lin Mu had seized from corpse demons went completely haywire in that split second, drawn toward the demon's gaze as if summoned, thrashing to break free from his body and return to its original master. Lin Mu let out a muffled groan, straining every ounce of strength to hold the chaotic power back. "Close your eyes, don't look at him," Lin Mu warned sharply. Wen Wantong obeyed instantly, squeezing her eyes shut tight. Even behind her eyelids, she could feel the overwhelming weight bearing down, like a towering mountain pressing the air from her lungs. "Lin Mu, how much longer can the Bright King's mirror hold?" Wen Wantong gripped his hand tightly, her voice trembling slightly. "Not much longer." Lin Mu gritted his teeth, his gaze fixed firmly on the mirror. Through his true sight, he watched the mirror's golden light dwindle while Shuten Doji's power swelled inside. Their forces waxed and waned against one another. The seal would shatter entirely before long. Once the mirror was gone as a medium, the jade orb in his hand would be useless. Without his trump card, the karmic fire, his odds against a fully awakened demon king would drop to nearly zero. He could not wait. "Teacher One, hold tight to me." Lin Mu drew a deep breath. "Understood," Wen Wantong replied without hesitation. The next second, Lin Mu lifted Wen Wantong fully into his arms. Wen Wantong wrapped her arms securely around his neck, her legs braced steady against his waist to keep balanced. Lin Mu then lunged toward the altar holding the Bright King's mirror like a speeding cannonball. At the same time, he raised his right hand and slammed the emerald green jade orb hard against the mirror's surface. Clang! The moment orb and mirror collided, a long, clear metallic ring exploded through the shrine hall. The sound cut through the thick fog of demonic energy, pierced the shrine walls, and echoed across the entire city of Tokyo beneath the night sky. The blow knocked the Bright King's mirror askew. Cracks spiderwebbed outward from the point of impact. Endless streams of demonic energy burst forth from the fissures, surging outward in a violent tide. Finally, a massive split tore straight down the center of the mirror. An enormous claw thrust out through the gap, crimson-skinned, 5 curved talons sharp as scythes. The claw seized the edge of the rift and ripped it wider. Boom! The entire rear shrine hall was blown apart in an instant. The wooden roof shredded like paper, walls collapsing outward as splintered lumber, and roof tiles flew through clouds of black, demonic energy. Lin Mu carried Wen Wantong backward, narrowly dodging several crashing support beams. Then he laid eyes on Shuten Doji's true form. A towering figure over 10 meters tall rose from the broken mirror, skin blood red as if soaked in fresh gore, 2 curved horns glinting like crescent moons against the night sky. Beneath his suffocating aura, every wisp of demonic energy lingering around the shrine rushed toward him in a violent flood, streams converging into his body like rivers emptying into the sea. The thick haze shrouding the shrine vanished in an instant, leaving the grounds clear once more as the energy was absorbed. The demonic energy flowing into his body wrapped around his frame to form a tangible dark crimson halo. Beyond the shrine's perimeter, even the demonic energy trapped inside Lin Mu and Wen Wantong spiraled out of control. Lin Mu felt countless cold, writhing tendrils inside him fighting to break free of his flesh and join the massive tide of power swirling around the Demon King. Dark vein-like markings seeped across both their skin from the frigid energy. "Lin Mu," Wen Wantong called out, struggling against the chaotic power. Lin Mu could spare no attention for her. The second his jade orb made contact with the Bright King's mirror, a notification had popped up on his panel. Activation conditions met. Detected medium. Bright King's mirror. Activate immovable Bright King Jade orb to wield immovable Bright King karmic fire? Gritting his teeth through the searing agony of demonic energy tearing through his veins, Lin Mu clung to the last shreds of his clarity and selected yes. He then activated the maximum daily critical multiplier linked to Wen Wantong. Consume. Immovable Bright King Jade orb ×1. Trigger favorability critical hit. Current bond target in contact. When Wantong. Favorability 55. Daily one-time fixed maximum critical multiplier available. Critical multiplier this time. 55x. Obtained. Immovable Bright King Karmic Fire times 55. The moment the critical calculation finished, Lin Mu hurled When Wantong away from him with all his strength. Run. Get as far away as you can. Boosted by demonic energy, Lin Mu's strength stat hit 159 when Wantong went flying out of the shrine like a cannonball. Thankfully, her physical stats had improved drastically recently, or the force of the throw would have left her gravely injured. Lin Mu, when Wantong landed in the forest beyond the shrine's borders. Now far from Shuten Doji's influence, the demonic energy roiling inside her settled back under control. She did not turn to rush back to him. She knew returning would only distract him and become a burden. The farther she fled, the fewer worries Lin Mu would face. Back at the ruined shrine, alone to face Shuten Doji, lights ignited all around Lin Mu. 55 clusters of immovable bright king karmic fire bloomed into existence surrounding his body, golden flames illuminating the wreckage as bright as daylight. The black demonic energy being drawn into Shuten Doji's body hissed and sizzled the second it touched the golden light, melting away like snow beneath a blazing sun. Shuten Doji had been roaring with wild delight at his freedom, but the sound died abruptly when the fire touched his aura. He lowered his massive head, his scarlet vertical pupils locking onto Lin Mu for the first time with genuine focus, though his gaze was fixed more on the 55 reeds of karmic fire swirling around the human. Yet Lin Mu, channeling the fire through his mental power, wore an increasingly grim expression. The demonic energy trapped inside him raged more violently by the second, pulled by Shuten Doji's aura and desperate to abandon his body. Every meridian burned as if pierced by thousands of needles, a bone-deep agony bordering on unbearable. Still Lin Mu endured, though he could not say how much longer he could hold out. A new system alert popped onto his panel. Detected massive residual demonic energy within host, pulled into chaos by Demon King Shuten Doji's aura. Refine internal demonic energy using immovable bright king karmic fire? Note, refinement converts demonic energy into Azura power, severing all connection to the Demon King and granting vastly amplified enhancement effects. Refinement ratio, 10:1. 10 units of demonic energy yield 1 unit of Azura power. 10:1. Lin Mu held 460 units of demonic energy within him. Refining all of it would leave him with only 46 units of Azura power. If he skipped refinement, however, the demonic energy inside him was a ticking bomb in Shuten Doji's presence. No, the bomb was already primed and exploding. Refine. Lin Mu made his decision without hesitation. Refinement initiated. All 55 clusters of immovable bright king karmic fire stirred at once. No longer hovering passively around him, they swirled in a blazing vortex that wrapped Lin Mu's entire form, burning away the demonic energy in his body. Immovable bright king karmic fire was the natural bane of all unholy forces. The demonic energy trapped in Lin Mu's veins melted like snow against magma the instant the golden flames touched it. The chaotic energy surging through his meridians was purified in the blink of an eye. The pain was worse than the earlier demonic energy rampage. Yet Lin Mu could feel the tainted, frigid demonic energy being stripped of its impurities, leaving behind a far purer strain of power. Demonic energy 10, Azura power +1. Demonic energy 10, Azura power +1. Demonic energy 10, Azura power +1. Lines of notifications refreshed rapidly across his panel. Lin Mu sensed his total reservoir of power shrink during the refinement, yet what remained grew denser, heavier, far more potent. When the last wisp of demonic energy burned away completely, the vortex of karmic fire circling him slowed to a halt. A brand new wellspring of power settled into Lin Mu's core. He pulled up his status panel again. Azura power, 46. Azura power, forged by refining demonic energy with immovable bright king karmic fire. Each unit activates a 1-minute Azura empowerment state, boosting all stats by 100. A full 100% boost. Demonic energy empowerment only raised his stats by 50%. Azura power doubled the effect outright. While his pool of power had shrunk drastically from 460 demonic energy to 46 Azura power, cutting his potential empowered runtime from nearly 8 hours to under 50 minutes, Lin Mu understood its true value. In a brutal, fast-paced battle where every second counted, 46 minutes of doubled strength outmatched 8 hours of weaker power by a wide margin. Most importantly of all, Lin Mu lifted his gaze to the towering crimson giant standing before him. Shuten Doji loomed like a small mountain, his scarlet vertical pupils still locked unblinkingly on Lin Mu. Yet the soul-crushing aura weighing down Lin Mu earlier had vanished entirely. The size gap remained staggering, but for the first time, Lin Mu sensed the Demon King was not an unbeatable force of nature. Shuten Doji felt the shift as well. Unmistakable restlessness flickered in his red eyes. He recognized the golden flames. 200 years prior, identical karmic fire had sealed him inside the bright king's mirror. Back then there had only been 9 wreaths of fire, yet this insignificant human now commanded 55. He would never mistake that loathsome, purifying light. Human, Shuten Doji rumbled, his voice like 2 massive boulders grinding against one another, harsh and grating to hear. Do you truly believe a handful of flames can stand against me? Shuten Doji let out a cold sneer. Lin Mu answered without a single word, activating Azura empowerment instantly. A violent surge of power erupted through his entire body. Unlike the cold chill of demonic energy empowerment, this burned like a volcano erupting within his bones. Azura empowerment active. All stats increased by 100, strength, 106-212, agility, 91-182, constitution, 72-144, spirit, 105-210. Lin Mu drew a deep breath, drinking in the explosive power flooding his limbs. 212 strength, 182 agility, 144 constitution, 210 spirit. His stats still fell short of Shuten Doji's, yet the gap was no longer an insurmountable chasm. Go! Lin Mu pointed forward with one hand. A single cluster of immovable bright king karmic fire peeled away from the vortex around him, trailing golden flame as it streaked straight towards Shuten Doji. The fire moved slowly, almost sluggishly, yet the Demon King's enormous frame made for an impossible target to evade. Shuten Doji raised a colossal claw and swatted the flame away. The fire scattered on impact, yet it did not extinguish. Instead, it blazed brighter the second it touched his demonic aura. Roar! Shuten Doji let out a pained bellow. The patch of his claw touched by the fire melted away layer upon layer of demonic energy, burning a small hole straight through the dark crimson halo wrapping his body. Immovable bright king karmic fire burned all unholy essence by its very nature. No matter how vast Shuten Doji's reservoir of demonic energy was, it remained vulnerable. Insignificant insect. Shuten Doji roared in rage. He abandoned swatting the stray flames and charged straight at Lin Mu instead. His massive frame crushed the ground beneath every thunderous step, a wave of destructive force rolling outward as he raised his enormous claw to smash down on Lin Mu. Lin Mu did not dodge. He wanted to test exactly how wide the power gap between himself and the Demon King truly stood. Channeling his full 212 strength into his right arm, he met the claw, larger than Lin Mu's entire body, head-on with a single punch. Boom! The collision sent a deafening shockwave rippling in every direction. The stone pavement beneath Lin Mu's feet shattered completely, his legs sinking deep into the cracked earth until the rubble reached his knees. Yet he had blocked the blow. His arm trembled violently, blood splitting the skin across his knuckles, his frame driven halfway into the ground by the impact. But he had withstood the strike. In that split second, he roughly gauged Shuten Doji's strength stat at around 300. Far stronger than his boosted 212, yet not so powerful that victory was out of the question entirely. Shuten Doji's vertical pupils widened in shock, stunned that his full-strength blow had been halted. Lin Mu was equally surprised. This was the so-called Demon King? Powerful, yes, yet nowhere near the unbeatable monster he'd imagined at first. When he'd first read the quest objective, to survive the Demon King's pursuit, he'd assumed Shuten Doji's strength would be completely unmanageable, which explained why the quest only required mere survival. Now, however, even without the immovable bright king karmic fire, escaping his pursuit might well be achievable. Then a new thought struck Lin Mu, correcting his initial judgment. For an average player, there was simply no way to escape the King Oni's pursuit. So was he far too overpowered? At the very least, compared to the strength standard for players at this second station, Lin Mu's stats were absurdly broken. It created the illusion that the King Oni was not an unbeatable threat. It suddenly dawned on Lin Mu that his power had long outstripped every other player by an insurmountable margin. Under normal circumstances, the King Oni should have been completely invincible at this second station. There would undoubtedly be countless far stronger foes waiting at later stations, but here and now, the King Oni's strength ought to have left everyone helpless. The only variable was his own ridiculously overpowered build. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind in an instant, yet they did nothing to slow his movements. He pulled his legs free from the cracked ground, his figure flickering to appear beside Shuten Doji in the next breath. 182 points of agility lent him speed fast enough to blur his form into a fleeting shadow. Air blast. An air blast bolstered by 210 points of spirit force roared forth from his palm. Not just one, 3 shots fired in rapid succession. Boom, boom, boom. All 3 blasts struck Shuten Doji square in the flank. 3 gashes split its crimson skin, thick black Oni aura surging wildly out of the wounds. Perfect. Air blast empowered by 210 spirit force could actually harm the monster. It seemed a skill's true power relied heavily on the wielder themselves. Take Qiandimeo for instance, whose spirit force lingered in the low teens. Even with a B rank skill, it would barely tickle the King Oni, not enough to slay even a lowly ghoul. By contrast, Teacher when wielded only a C rank skill, yet her immense spirit force let her overwhelm Qiandimeo without effort. When 2 combatants possessed comparable base attributes, a C rank skill would never match a B rank one. But Qiandimeo's foundational stats were far too feeble to begin with. No matter how high a skill's tier, even S rank, it meant nothing if its wielder lacked the stats to unlock its full potential. Shuten Doji roared and spun around, slashing its massive claws toward Linmu. Linmu dodged once more, launching 2 balls of karmic flame that streaked toward the Oni's chest and back respectively. Karmic flame functioned entirely differently from air blast. Air blast dealt physical damage, rending defenses apart through the sheer impact of compressed air. Karmic flame, however, inflicted elemental damage. It required no penetration to burn, igniting the second it made contact with Oni aura. The 2 fireballs burst against Shuten Doji's frame, golden flames spreading across its body and incinerating swathes of its ghostly aura. The dark crimson halo wrapping its massive form faded and fragmented visibly before Linmu's eyes. Damned karmic fire! Damned insect! Shuten Doji bellowed in rage. It churned torrents of Oni aura over the burning wounds, attempting to smother the flames through sheer volume. But karmic flame could never be extinguished that easily. As long as Oni aura lingered nearby, the fire would burn on, until either the aura was consumed or the flame's energy depleted entirely. Linmu gave it no chance to recover. 1 fireball after another swirled around him, slamming relentlessly into Shuten Doji's towering frame. Each blast devoured huge swathes of its protective aura. The once solid crimson halo thinned and dimmed beneath the unceasing blaze. Still, Linmu noted that every flame faded after burning for a set length of time, not snuffed out by the Oni's aura, but drained of its own power. He tallied silently in his head. 55 karmic flames in total. 12 had already burned out, leaving 43 remaining. Though Shuten Doji's aura had been significantly worn down, the damage was far from crippling. This would be a war of attrition. Once his flames ran dry, he would have to rely solely on his own body. Shuten Doji's assaults grew more and more ferocious. It abandoned trying to stamp out the flames, fixing all its fury solely on Linmu. It would tear this tiny human to shreds, grind him between its jaws, and absorb his flesh into its own being. Yet Linmu's speed was unmatched. With 182 agility, he slipped through Shuten Doji's strikes like a slippery eel. Every claw swipe narrowly missed. Every crushing stomp evaded a split second early. All the while, he never halted his counterattacks. As he directed waves of flame to erode the Oni's aura, he unleashed air blasts and swung his cleaver to land supplementary blows. Each individual strike dealt modest damage, yet their cumulative toll was substantial. More importantly, Linmu honed mastery over his own power mid-battle. He gauged how much force 212 strength could deliver, pinpointed the limit of his reflexes at 182 agility. He tested how much impact his 144 constitution could withstand, and calculated how many air blasts his 210 spirit force could sustain. Shuten Doji served as the perfect training dummy, letting him refine every facet of his combat technique. Boom. Another brutal clash of raw strength. Linmu was sent flying backward, slamming through the last intact stone wall of the shrine and embedding himself amid a pile of rubble. He scrambled to his feet at once, brushing dust from his clothes. Only a thin trail of blood at the corner of his mouth marked his injury. He bore no other visible harm. 144 points of constitution granted not just sturdy defenses, but extraordinary natural recovery. Shuten Doji stared down at the dent Linmu's punch had carved into its chest, its slitted scarlet eyes blazing with unbridled fury. This human was maddeningly hard to kill, though its strength outmatched his, and their speeds were roughly even. The cursed karmic fire steadily stripped away its aura, while the intermittent air blasts chipped away at its vitality nonstop. If the fight dragged on, it remained confident of victory, but the cost would be immense. As Shuten Doji hesitated over whether to retreat temporarily, a stray fireball drifted onto its nape and exploded directly against the back of its neck. Roar! Golden fire erupted across the wound, incinerating massive clouds of its protective aura. Shuten Doji reared back in agony, its colossal frame trembling violently. Lin Mu seized the opening without delay. He launched forward like a cannonball, wrapping his fist in a shroud of karmic flame. He channeled the full weight of his 212 strength into a single blow aimed at the dented hollow on the Oni's chest. Several of his cleavers had already shattered under the strain of his power, leaving him to fight with nothing but his bare fists. Lin Mu had identified the core issue limiting his damage output, the layer of Oni aura shielding Shuten Doji's body. What if he wove karmic flame into his strikes to dissolve that aura barrier before impact? The next instant, he received his answer. Lin Mu's flame-wreathed right fist crashed home. The golden fire burned through the Oni aura in an instant, and his strength-fueled fist drove straight into Shuten Doji's torso. Its crimson skin split wide open, and through the gaping wound, Lin Mu could faintly make out the beating heart deep within its chest. "Get off me!" Shuten Doji roared. Beneath the rage in its cry, Lin Mu clearly heard a note of raw terror. The King Oni was afraid. It twisted its massive body and flung Lin Mu aside like a projectile. He crashed hard into the rubble once more. Lin Mu coughed up blood as he lay sprawled, every bone in his body screaming in agony, but he smiled. "What are you grinning about?" Shuten Doji snarled. "I figured out how to kill you." Lin Mu pushed himself upright amid the stone debris. "Worm. Insignificant worm," the Oni howled. Lin Mu snapped his fingers, sending 3 more fireballs streaking forward in a triangular formation toward his foe. Shuten Doji instinctively raised its claws to swat them away, and that was exactly the opening Lin Mu had waited for. He charged forward once again, flame coiled around his right fist, targeting the gashes the air blast had torn into its flank. The fire melted through the aura, and his fist smashed deep into raw flesh. Boom! A far larger cavity burst open along Shuten Doji's side. Lin Mu pulled back immediately after landing the blow. He switched to long-range bombardment with air blasts shrouded in golden flame. Each fire-wreathed blast slammed into the Oni's body. Wounds multiplied across its towering frame, covering its torso from shoulder to hip. At last, genuine dread washed over Shuten Doji. "Human, mark my words. I will remember you." It roared, spinning to flee without hesitation. "Think you can run?" Lin Mu shouted, giving chase instantly. He pushed his 182 agility to its absolute limit, his figure dissolving into a dark blur. He circled around to its flank, dodging the wild claw swipe it lashed out in panic. He drove his flame-wreathed fist straight into the half-healed wound on its chest. Lin Mu's punch blew a massive hole clean through its torso. This time, he did not pull away. He raised his left palm, leveling it at the thrumming hard inches from his face. Air blast. A flame-shrouded air blast detonated point-blank against Shuten Doji's heart. Boom. The organ exploded completely. Shuten Doji's colossal frame stiffened rigidly, its slitted eyes wide with disbelief. It parted its jaws to unleash one final scream, yet only thick black blood frothed up from its throat. Then the dozens of meters tall giant crashed heavily to the ground. Lin Mu was dragged down alongside it, but he rose to his feet quickly. He stood beside the King Oni's corpse, watching its broken form twitch faintly. Faint traces of life still lingered within it. Not dead yet. Lin Mu's gaze sharpened. He waved a hand, sending his 9 remaining immovable king karmic flames to engulf the Oni entirely. Golden fire blazed fiercely, burning away every last wisp of aura and fragment of flesh bit by bit. Shuten Doji's body slowly crumbled to ash in the flames, the air thick with the acrid stench of incineration. When the final scrap of the King Oni's remains burned away, the last flame flickered out and vanished. Nothing remained atop the shrine ruins save a patch of charred black stone, and a treasure chest wrapped in brilliant radiance. King Oni slain. Shuten Doji non-peak form experience gained. 1000 unsettled. The notification refreshed across Lin Mu's status panel. Immediately after, a system announcement echoed in the ears of every surviving player aboard the train. The King Oni has been eliminated. All station objectives completed ahead of schedule. All surviving players will be teleported back to the train in 3 seconds. 3. A countdown. Lin Mu dove forward, grabbing the treasure chest hovering above the Oni's ashes and clutching it tight to his chest. 2. He glanced toward the tree outside the shrine, wondering how Wantong, Shen Lu, and Su Qingli had fared. 1. A flash of white light swallowed Lin Mu's figure, erasing him from the ruined shrine. Outside the shrine's forest edge, when Wantong had burst free of the trees minutes prior, Lin Mu had tossed her clear of the battle at the start of the fight, and she'd tumbled through underbrush for meters before coming to a halt. Her arm still throbbed sharply from the fall. Her light blouse and straight-cut work skirt were torn and snagged all over by branches, her thin leg coverings ripped in multiple places. Yet she kept running, gasping for breath with her chest heaving, never slowing her pace. She knew full well she had to put as much distance between herself and the shrine as possible, otherwise, she would become Lin Mu's weakness. Neither the blazing golden light of the karmic fire nor Shuten Doji's earth-shaking roars tempted her to pause and look back. Only when the system announcement of the King Oni's defeat echoed in her ears did her legs give out, and she sank onto the dirt, eyes glistening with sudden tears. Lin Mu, she whispered softly, before white light wrapped around her and pulled her away. Several kilometers down a residential street, Ace Yukino's compact car sat parked at the curb. Shen Lu and Su Qingli stood beside it, staring toward the towering golden glow rising on the horizon. Senior, Shen Lu whispered, hands pressed tight against her chest. Su Qingli said nothing, standing quietly beside her, though her grip on her iron sword tightened visibly. When the announcement of the King Oni's death reached them, Shen Lu jumped to her feet at once, her twin ponytails bouncing with her excitement. Senior 1. White light engulfed both girls simultaneously, sweeping them away. Only Ace Yukino remained, staring blankly at the empty space where they'd stood mere seconds before. Eyes wide with utter confusion, they had vanished without a trace, as if they had never existed at all. A residential district roadway. Zhao Tai clutched his wounded shoulder, gasping for ragged breaths. Only 2 other survivors from the chain car stood beside him, one young man and one young woman. The female team member with the injured leg lay motionless on the pavement, dead. The young woman from Qian Dimeo's ash car also lay lifeless nearby, a massive tear split open across her chest. Qian Dimeo slumped against a wall, the desperate pleas of his fallen teammate ringing endlessly in his mind. Brother Qian, save me. Please save me, she'd begged repeatedly. Yet Qian Dimeo had only stared numbly at the last faint spark of fire in his palm, drained of all strength to move a muscle. 3 ghouls shuffled slowly toward them from the road ahead. Zhao Tai gritted his teeth and raised his cleaver, knowing they would not survive the coming assault. Brother Zhao, the young woman beside him said, her voice trembling with fear. We fight to the end, Zhao Tai replied, uttering only those 2 words. The ghouls lunged forward, and the system announcement cut through the tension. The King Oni has been eliminated. All station objectives completed ahead of schedule. All surviving players will be teleported back to the train in 3 seconds. Qian Dimeo snapped his head upward, wild relief flooding his face. A ghoul's claw hovered less than an inch from his throat, when white light swallowed everything. A flash of white light flickered inside the train carriage, and Lin Mu landed on the floor, treasure chest pressed securely in his arms. Before he could steady himself, a figure rushed forward and threw her arms around him. It was not Shen Lu. It was Wantong. Her blouse and skirt remained torn from the forest brush, her leg coverings frayed in several spots to reveal patches of pale skin underneath. Her glasses sat askew on her nose, yet she made no move to straighten them. She simply clung tightly to Lin Mu, burying her face against his chest, as if she wished to press herself close enough to merge with him entirely. Teacher 1. Lin Mu blinked in surprise. He had known Wantong for a long time, yet he had never seen her act this way before. Whether standing at the front of a university classroom or traveling aboard the train, she always carried herself with gentle poise and composure. Now, however, she looked like an ordinary woman consumed with overwhelming worry for someone dear to her. You tossed me away. Her voice came muffled against his shirt. You just threw me out and faced that monster all alone. I only did that because, Lin Mu tried to explain. I know, when Wantong cut him off. I know you did it to protect me. I know staying there would only hold you back. I know your choice was the right one. Her words held complete understanding. But I still hate it. All I could do was run, unable to help in any way, she mumbled quietly. Another burst of white light flared, and Shen Lu and Su Qingli materialized inside the carriage. Shen Lu stepped forward the instant she landed, clearly intending to reach Lin Mu first. Yet she froze mid-stride upon seeing Wen Wantong already embracing him. Teacher Wen. Chen Lu's eyes widened in shock. She turned to Su Qingli, gesturing toward the pair with a look that clearly said, "Can you believe this?" Su Qingli gave a faint nod, her expression calm as ever, though the corners of her lips tugged upward in a subtle smile. "Teacher Wen, you beat me to it." Chen Lu complained lightly. "I was going to be the first one to hug Senior, but you got there ahead of me." When Wantong suddenly realized she was still holding Lin Mu, she hastily stepped back, cheeks flushing faintly. I just, she stammered, at a loss for words. Teacher Wen was just terrified for Senior, Chen Lu said with a grin, wrapping both arms around one of Lin Mu's arms instead. She was with you in the shrine, after all, so she knows exactly how dangerous that monster was. It's fine though, I can hug your arm instead. You silly girl. When Wantong laughed at Chen Lu's carefree demeanor, her tension fading. Senior, are you hurt anywhere? I heard the announcement that the King Oni was defeated, but a monster that huge must have put you through a lot. Chen Lu ran her hands lightly over Lin Mu's shoulders and arms, checking for injuries. Just minor scrapes, nothing serious. Lin Mu patted the top of her head gently. Scrapes still count as injuries. Teacher Wen, didn't we grab medical supplies from that supermarket earlier? Chen Lu said, suddenly earnest. I'm already fetching them, Wen Wantong replied, pulling gauze and antiseptic solution out of their first aid kit. Sit down, Su Qingli spoke up. Lin Mu automatically settled onto one of the carriage benches, and Su Qingli stepped forward to meet his gaze. Lift your arm, Su Qingli instructed. Lin Mu obeyed, raising his right arm. Su Qingli's soft, cool fingers brushed against his forearm as she began examining every wound. When the A-list celebrity touched his body, Lin Mu's heart raced a little despite knowing it was just a routine physical checkup. Nothing broken, but quite a few soft tissue bruises. Ms. Wen, pass me the disinfectant, Su Qingli said after her examination, letting out a quiet sigh of relief. Here you go. When Wantong handed the supplies over, Su Qingli took them and carefully cleaned the claw gashes left by the ghouls on Lin Mu's arm. Thanks to Lin Mu's 72-point constitution stat, the wounds had already mostly healed. You've done this kind of work before? Lin Mu couldn't help asking as he watched her smooth, practiced movements. I get injured filming all the time. When the crew's medical staff are swamped, actors patch each other up regularly. Su Qingli replied without looking up. Getting the big star Su to dress your wounds personally. You're really lucky, Senior. Chen Lu squatted down beside them, resting her chin in her hands and watching the scene with bright eyes. Come help too. Cut this roll of gauze open. When Wantong passed a roll of gauze to Chen Lu. On it, Chen Lu grabbed the gauze and fumbled around looking for scissors. At the same moment, the status panels of all 4 people flickered simultaneously. Notification: Bond target favorability increased when Wantong favorability +5. Current favorability. 60 Chen Lu favorability +1. Current favorability. 62 Su Qingli favorability +3. Current favorability. 38. Only 1 point? Just one? Chen Lu stared at the number on her panel, utterly dumbfounded. I was so worried about you, Senior. I was practically panicking waiting outside the shrine, and I only get 1 measly point? Is there a glitch in the system? She complained, unwilling to accept the result. Favorability gains slow down once you hit 60 points. That's probably it. Su Qingli analyzed calmly. Huh? You mean it's not that I'm not likable enough, my base score's just too high? Chen Lu blinked. Something like that. It's harder to deepen affection once you already care deeply about someone. It's a threshold issue, not anything wrong with you. Su Qingli explained in an even tone. Ms. Wen's gains will slow down too sooner or later. Since she's also at 60, she added. So my favorability for Senior is the highest? That's why it's so hard to raise. Chen Lu tilted her head and reached her own conclusion. You're impossible. Su Qingli shot her a glance and said flatly. Chen Lu paid no mind to the jab, instead swinging her twin ponytails proudly. Did you hear that, Senior? I like you the most out of everyone here. Chen Lu bragged to Lin Mu. Heard you loud and clear, Lin Mu answered indulgently. The group laughed together. Even Su Qingli tugged the corners of her mouth into a faint smile. When Wantong clapped her hands to draw everyone's attention shortly after. Let's tally up what we gained from this stop. I assume this chest dropped when we defeated the Ghost King. When Wantong nodded toward the chest Lin Mu had set aside after boarding the train. Yep, Lin Mu nodded. This is the Ghost King's treasure chest? Wonder what's inside. Chen Lu circled the chest, eyes wide like a kid waiting to unwrap birthday gifts. No telling, but it's bound to be something great, Lin Mu said confidently. Should we open it now? Chen Lu's eyes sparkled with anticipation. Save it for tomorrow. Both you and MS. when I've already used your daily maximum critical multiplier for today? There's no rush, Lin Mu suggested. Right, we can't waste a Ghost King chest. We'll use whoever has the highest favorability tomorrow to get the best possible multiplier. When Wantong reasoned logically. That's me. I'm at 62, the highest. Chen Lu shot her hand up immediately. We'll cross that bridge tomorrow. Someone's favorability might rise overnight, Su Qingli remarked coolly. Then I'm sticking close to senior tonight to keep my top spot. Chen Lu grew instantly alert. You slept right next to him last night anyway. Su Qingli said evenly. We just shared a resting space. Nothing more. Chen Lu stammered, her mind wandering to some private thought. I never said there was anything more. Su Qingli responded calmly. Chen Lu fell silent, unable to think of a retort. Lin Mu quickly stepped in to shift the topic before the conversation veered further into awkward territory. Forget the chest for now. We still have 3,000 unclaimed experience points from defeating the Ghost King, he said. You're right, I totally forgot. Chen Lu latched onto the new subject at once. Su hasn't used her daily maximum critical multiplier yet, right? Use yours. 38 times is still a solid boost, way better than random odds, Chen Lu suggested. Very well, I'll use mine, Su Qingli nodded. Lin Mu suddenly realized his heart was fluttering with nervousness. He'd held hands with Wen Wantong countless times, and had plenty of casual physical contact with Chen Lu, but apart from Su Qingli patching his arm just now, they'd barely touched at all. This was Su Qingli, after all, the nation's beloved fairy, a top-tier celebrity with hundreds of millions of fans. They'd shared the train car for days, and survived 2 life-or-death incidents side by side, yet a faint sense of distance still lingered between them. Now they were about to hold hands. You're nervous? Su Qingli spoke up out of the blue. A little, Lin Mu admitted. Does holding my hand make you nervous? There was an unreadable undertone in Su Qingli's voice. You're Su Qingli. Lin Mu let out a helpless chuckle. Barring unforeseen circumstances, I'll be one of your closest companions going forward, Su Qingli stated plainly. Chen Lu, who'd been sipping mineral water and watching their exchange with amusement, nearly choked and sprayed water everywhere. Su really does say whatever's on her mind, Chen Lu said, half amused, half speechless. Let's get started, Su Qingli said. In the end, Su Qingli reached out first and laced her fingers with Lin Mu's. Settle experience points? Yes/no select yes. Experience critical triggered current bond targeting contact. Su Qingli, favorability. 38 daily fixed maximum critical multiplier activated critical multiplier this time. 38x. Base experience. 1,000 experience after critical boost. 38,000 experience points. Even though they'd calculated the number beforehand, Chen Lu's mouth went dry watching the massive value pop up. It was an absurd amount. Player level up LV.24 LV.25 4,200 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 4 LV.25 LV.26 4,500 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 4 LV.26 LV.27 4,800 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 4 LV.27 LV.28 5,100 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 4 LV.28 LV.29 5,400 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 4 LV.29 LV.35,700 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 4 LV.30 LV. 31 6,000 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 4 numbers flashed across the panel in a non-stop stream of level up notifications, finally halting at level 31. Current level, LV.31 strength, 106 134 agility, 91 119 constitution, 72 100 spirit, 105 133. 7 levels in one go. This is more overpowered than private server games. Are you about to one-shot every monster in sight, senior? Chen Lu blurted out, stunned by the inflated stats. Experience sharing activated available sharing targets. When Wantong, Chen Lu. I'll share this badge with Ms. 1. I've shared experience with Xiaolu the last few times, so it's her turn now, Lin Mu said, trying to treat everyone fairly. I don't mind at all. Ms. 1 was so worried earlier. She deserves this reward. Chen Lu raised her hand and grinned. When Wantong parted her lips as if to speak, but simply nodded softly in the end. Select sharing target. When Wantong bond target, when Wantong receives shared experience. 38,000 times 20 experience gained, 7,600 immediately after, when Wontong's panel numbers began surging. Player level up LV.6, LV.7 600 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 2 LV.7 LV.8 700 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 2 LV.8 LV.9 800 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 2 LV.12 LV.13 1400 EXP required for upgrade reward. All stats plus 3. Her level climbed rapidly before settling at level 13. Current level, LV.13 Strength, 1632 Agility, 1834 Constitution, 1733 Spirit, 6177. Wow, Mizwen also jumped 7 levels. Now she's even 1 level higher than me. Chun-Lu marveled. Next, we upgrade the train. Linmu walked to the light screen at the front of the carriage and pulled up the train status panel. Train name. Family carriage train level. 2 current members. Linmu, Su Qingli, Wen Wontong. Chun-Lu resources required for upgrade. Wood times 1,000, iron ingots times 1,000. We've had more than enough wood and iron for ages. Our stockpiles are several thousand each, right? Chun-Lu poked her head out from behind Linmu, her twin ponytails brushing his arm. Plenty. Linmu checked the storage inventory and confirmed. Then what are we waiting for? Upgrade it right away. Level 3 train must unlock brand new features. Chun-Lu urged him impatiently. A thought suddenly struck her, and her eyes lit up as she pressed close to Linmu's side. Senior, hold my hand this time. My favorability's 62, higher than everyone else's, so random critical rolls will be best with me. She stretched out her pale, slender hand and held it out to him confidently. Watching Chun-Lu's eager demeanor, Wen Wontong's lips tugged upward into a faint smile. You're certainly eager. Su Qingli leaned against a bench and commented mildly. Of course I am. I'm the one with the highest favorability for you, so this should be my job. Chun-Lu argued confidently. Does topping the favorability chart make you that proud? Su Qingli stepped forward to stand beside the light screen. You're only at 38. Su, you can't possibly understand how great this feels. Chun-Lu smiled brightly. Senior, take my hand already. I've been holding it out this whole time. Don't make me wait. Chun-Lu stared at him, eyes glinting. Linmu laughed at her straightforwardness and shook his head before wrapping his hand around hers. The girl's palm was warm and soft, a stark contrast to Wen Wontong's cool touch, brimming with the vibrant energy unique to Chun-Lu. Train upgrade supports critical boost. Activate critical? Yes/no. Linmu selected yes. Current bond targeting contact. Chun-Lu, favorability. 62 critical multiplier this roll. 10x random base upgrade cost. Wood times 1,000. Iron ingots times 1,000. Cost after critical reduction. Wood times 100. Iron ingots times 100. Train upgrade complete. Current train level. LV.3. The carriage shook faintly, and a soft silver glow rippled through the air, spilling down from the ceiling to envelop the entire train car. Once the light faded, the previously cramped carriage felt noticeably wider, and all the benches lining the sides looked brand new. Whoa, the space expanded so much. Chun-Lu pulled her hand free and spun around excitedly inside the carriage. It's far roomier, roughly a third larger than before. Wen Wontong scanned the space carefully and assessed. The critical multiplier was a little low though, only 10 times. I was hoping for dozens. Chun-Lu's excitement faded into mild disappointment. 10 times is already excellent. Wen Wontong comforted her gently. You're right, I'm just being greedy. 10 times is amazing. We've saved tons of materials to use for other projects. Her slump lasted barely a second before her upbeat energy returned. Her gaze then fell on the new crafting options on the light screen, and her eyes blew wide open. Upgraded restroom. Upgraded shower room. Private bedrooms too. Senior, look, we can each have our own separate rooms now. She practically pressed herself against the screen, her fingers darting across the new options, voice trembling with excitement. Linmu followed her pointing finger to read the updated crafting list. Advanced restroom. Wood times 200. Iron ingots times 200. Built as an upgrade to the basic restroom. Equipped with automatic self-cleaning and vacuum waste disposal, plus a vanity counter and mirror. Generates 10 liters of washing water daily. Advanced shower room. Wood times 300. Iron ingots times 300. Upgraded from the basic shower. Produces 50 liters of clean hot water daily, fitted with temperature control and massage shower heads. Basic private room. Wood times 200. Iron ingots times 200. Cloth times 50. Creates a separate private living space of 6 square meters, pre-furnished with a bed, simple wardrobe, and writing desk. Beds, wardrobes, desks. Chun Lu nearly jumped for joy, spinning around to grab Lin Mu's arm and shake it vigorously. Did you see it, senior? No more sleeping on floor mats. We each get our own room. 5 times more water supply, massage shower heads, constant temperature. The restroom even has a vanity counter. And every room has a bed, storage, a desk. This is incredible, she rambled, spinning circles once more in delight. Lin Mu's attention drifted to 2 more new options further down the list. Storage vault expansion. Wood times 50, iron ingots times 50. Adds 10 extra storage slots to the train's main vault. Personal backpack expansion. Wood times 100, iron ingots times 100. Adds 10 extra inventory slots to your personal backpack. We can expand our storage vaults and backpacks now, Lin Mu said. That's incredibly important. Our supplies are piling up. Both our backpacks and the main vault are almost full. When Wantong's expression turned serious. Perfect, just 100 wood and iron for 10 extra slots each. We have more than enough materials to expand as much as we need. Lin Mu nodded, satisfied with the new crafting options. Upgrading the train to level 4 required 10,000 wood and 10,000 iron ingots. Their current stockpile only reached several thousand, which wasn't enough for the next train tier. But they had more than sufficient resources to build private rooms, upgrade bathroom facilities, and expand storage. What should we craft first? Lin Mu turned to the 3 girls to ask for their input. Private rooms first. Chun Lu shot her hand up immediately. Upgrade the restroom and shower room. Su Qingli said calmly. Expand the storage vault, when Wantong suggested softly. We'll build all of them one after another, Lin Mu smiled. Craft advanced restroom times 1 bond favorability critical triggered current bond target in contact. Chun Lu, favorability. 62, critical multiplier this time. 45x base cost. Wood times 200, iron ingots times 200. Actual cost consumed. Wood times 4, iron ingots times 4. Constructing the tiny restroom at the rear of the train shifted and reshaped itself. The compartment grew larger. A vanity mirror and sink appeared on the wall, and the toilet was replaced with a more refined model. 45 times multiplier. Luck's totally on my side. Chun Lu shook Lin Mu's arm, elated by the number. I see it. I see it. Lin Mu's arm ached from her vigorous shaking, yet he smiled and nodded. Next came the shower room upgrade. Craft advanced shower room times 1 bond favorability critical triggered current bond target in contact. Chun Lu, favorability. 62, critical multiplier this time. 30x base cost. Wood times 300, iron ingots times 300. Actual cost consumed. Wood times 10, iron ingots times 10. Constructing light washed over the shower room as it finished upgrading, more than doubling in size. There was ample space for all 4 people to use it comfortably at once. Chun Lu immediately voiced the thought that crossed her mind. Constant temperature water, massage shower heads, 50 liters of water every day, and all this space. We could all shower together in here. Craft basic private room times 4. Bond favorability critical triggered current bond target in contact. Chun Lu, favorability. 62, critical multiplier this time. 20x base cost. Wood times 800, iron ingots times 800, cloth times 200. Actual cost consumed. Wood times 40, iron ingots times 40, cloth times 10. Constructing. For streams of light lit up both sides of the carriage. Raw materials materialized out of thin air to frame new living spaces toward the back of the car, pushing the old benches aside. 2 separate rooms lined each side of the carriage. My room. I've got my own room. Chun Lu cheered, letting go of Lin Mu's hand and darting straight into the nearest private room. Though each space spanned only 6 square meters, every inch was cleverly and compactly laid out. A bed. There's actually a bed. And a desk lamp. A wardrobe too. Chun Lu spun around the room twice, her voice bright with joy. She then checked the other 3 rooms one after another, confirming they all came with identical furnishings. Senior, I want this one. Chun Lu pointed at a room at last. Sure, whatever you'd like. Lin Mu nodded in agreement. When Wantong picked the room right next to Chun Lu's, while Su Qingli chose the space directly across from Chun Lu's doorway. That left only the room beside Su Qingli, so Lin Mu claimed it for himself. Now the layout was set. Chun Lu and Wen Wantong occupied one side of the carriage, with Su Qingli and Lin Mu on the opposite side. Chun Lu and Su Qingli's doors faced each other, and Wen Wantong's room was directly across from Lin Mu's. This meant Lin Mu's quarters were the farthest from Chun Lu's. Standing in her own doorway, Chun Lu frowned with a twinge of regret. Senior, why is your room so far away from mine? It's not far at all, just a few steps, Lin Mu replied casually. A few steps still count as distance. If I have a nightmare at night, I'd have to walk so far to find you. Chun Lu moped. You could always head straight to his room to sleep. Su Qingli cut in calmly. Sister Su, I'm not that kind of person. Chen Lu feigned composure. I think you absolutely are, Su Qingli retorted dryly. When Wantong covered her mouth to stifle a laugh, while Lin Mu wisely steered the conversation elsewhere. We still need to expand storage chests and backpacks. Let's finish that first. Storage chest expansion times 15. Favorable impression critical triggered critical multiplier this time. 25x original cost. 750 timber, 750 iron ingots actual cost. 30 timber, 30 iron ingot storage slots plus 150 the train's shared storage vault gained an extra 150 slots, expanding its capacity from 50 to 200 total spaces. Personal backpack expansion times 4, for all 4 members favorable impression critical triggered critical multiplier this time. 16x original cost. 1600 timber, 1600 iron ingots actual cost. 100 timber, 100 iron ingots personal backpack slots plus 40 per person. Each of their backpacks simultaneously upgraded from 10 slots to 50. 50 slots. If we'd had this much space back at the last station, we could have stockpiled way more supplies. Chen Lu sighed with regret. Let's hope the next station has a supermarket too. All right, come help me carry the refrigerators. Lin Mu patted the top of her head. The 4 of them had bought 20 large-capacity refrigerators back in Tokyo, all stashed away in storage. Now that they had private rooms, it was time to unpack them for use. They placed 1 fridge inside each bedroom, then lined the remaining 16 neatly along both sides of the carriage aisle. Next came sorting all their food supplies. Sacks of rice, flour, all kinds of meat, fresh vegetables, fruits, seasonings, drinks, and snacks. Every grocery item they'd bought at Tokyo's supermarkets was pulled out and sorted into the fridges. Beef goes in this fridge, pork over there, seafood on this side. Vegetables get their own unit, and condiments right here. Chen Lu chattered away as she packed shelves full. They had no need to worry about power supply whatsoever. Second-tier trains came with a fixed daily electricity allocation, and third-tier carriages received even more power each day. Once every refrigerator was set up, the carriage looked completely transformed from its former empty state. For partitioned private rooms lined the sides, with renovated restrooms and bathing facilities at the rear end. Rows of fridges stood beside each window, soft carpet covered the central walkway, and a glowing light screen hummed gently at the front of the carriage. The whole train felt warm and fully furnished. This isn't a survival train anymore. It's a mobile apartment complex. Chun Lu planted her hands on her hips in the center of the carriage, brimming with pride. Truly, this is what living properly feels like, when Wantong echoed with a sigh of contentment. The only thing missing now is a hot pot feast. Chen Lu scanned the entire space. A hot pot. Su Qingli poked her head out from her bedroom doorway. Exactly. We have an induction cooker, piles of meat and veggies, plus hot pot broth bases we stocked up on. Why let them sit unused? Chen Lu reasoned confidently. What a wonderful idea. We've all worked hard today. A hot pot meal will help us unwind. When Wantong nodded in agreement. Senior, come quick and help me. Fetch the induction cooker, the pot, bowls, chopsticks, and sesame dipping sauce. Chen Lu was already rummaging through the fridges. Lin Mu shook his head helplessly and stepped forward to assist her. In no time, a low wooden table was covered with ingredients. Thin sliced beef and pork belly, sections of corn, washed baby bok choy, enoki mushrooms, frozen tofu, and more filled every plate. Let me find the shrimp paste. Here it is. Chen Lu continued pulling extra ingredients from the newly stocked fridges. Meanwhile, the dual-flavor broth on the induction cooker bubbled steadily, spicy red soup on one side, mild clear broth on the other. It filled the entire carriage with rich, savory aroma. Senior, do you want beer to drink? Chen Lu darted over to grab a beverage. No, cola's fine. Wait, you bought beer too. Lin Mu blinked in surprise. I thought you might want some, so I picked a few bottles up, Chen Lu said, waiting for praise. Thanks, but cola's better for me tonight, Lin Mu said with a faint smile. All right, next time you feel like drinking, I'll put on a dance for you to enjoy the moment. Chen Lu spoke, without filtering her words. Lin Mu nearly spat out the cola he'd just sipped. You can dance. At the freshman welcoming event you only sang and played piano. We never saw you dance back then. When Wantong asked curiously. I learned short dance clips from short video platforms. They're more lively performances, so I wouldn't dance them for everyone. I'd only show them to you, senior. Chen Lu said matter-of-factly. The 4 of them sat cross-legged on the carpet around the low table. Chen Lu kept fishing slices of meat out of the mild broth, eating heartily with a satisfied expression. Lulu, why aren't you eating the spicy broth? Can't you handle chili? When Wantong asked in confusion. I love spicy food, just not today. Chen Lu stared longingly at the boiling red broth, swallowing hard before looking away. Why is that? She's probably avoiding spicy food so she won't accidentally make Senior uncomfortable. Su Qingli cut straight to the point. That's not it at all. I just don't feel like spicy food today. Chen Lu's rebuttal lacked conviction. When Wantong looked confused for a second before catching the underlying meaning, her cheeks flushing bright red instantly. Lulu hasn't even blushed. Why are you turning red? Su Qingli had grown comfortable around the group and spoke her mind more freely these days. It made for an interesting contrast. The usually aloof, elegant young woman had a playful, outspoken side she only revealed around people she trusted deeply. Do you think the passengers on other trains are eating right now? Chen Lu quickly shifted the subject. Most likely compressed biscuits. If they're lucky, they might find small amounts of fresh food at stations, Lin Mu pondered aloud. He was glad to move past the earlier awkward topic. They must be having such a tough time. Here we are feasting on hot pot, while they gnaw on dry biscuits. It almost feels unfair. Chen Lu kept her chopsticks moving non-stop as she spoke. Su Qingli sat closest to the front light screen, glancing at its display every few moments. Her graceful movements as she ate hot pot suddenly halted when she tapped into the survival forum. The trading forum has seen major changes. Su Qingli's voice pulled the others from their casual chatter. What changed? When Wantong leaned over immediately, Su Qingli shifted sideways so everyone could view the screen together. Current online trains in Zone 67. 6,322, 6,322? How did the number jump so high? Only second tier and above trains can access the forum. There were just 137 online before. Where did all these extra trains come from? Chen Lu gasped in shock. It makes perfect sense. When Wantong set down her chopsticks to analyze. After the first station, only 137 trains gathered the 100 timber and 100 iron ingots required for an upgrade. But other trains weren't left empty-handed. Many collected 80, 90 some materials, just short of the threshold. The second station was harder, yet it dropped far more resources. Trains that nearly qualified finally scraped together enough supplies there. Plus, many groups gathered massive stockpiles during the second stop. Naturally, far more trains upgraded to second tier, when Wantong continued explaining. That tracks. 6,000 sounds like a huge number, but compared to the total 200,000 trains sent out, it's barely a fraction. Chen Lu nodded in understanding. After 2 stations, less than 5% of all trains reached second-tier rank. The remaining 190,000 either struggled to survive, or Su Qingli trailed off. Yet everyone grasped her unspoken thought, or their entire crews had perished. A heavy silence fell over the carriage, broken only by the constant bubbling of the hot pot broth. Now that over 6,000 trains are second tier, there should be plenty of stat cards circulating. Su Qingli broke the quiet with a new observation. You're right. The 3 stat cards we traded last time boosted seniors and teacher when stats so much. If we can swap for more this round. Chen Lu's attention instantly lit up. I still have a Wraith Essence orb I forgot about. It dropped when I took down that Wraith single-handedly a while back. Chen Lu suddenly remembered, pulling a black orb out from her storage. Trading this away would be a bad deal. Wraith Essence orbs are worth far more than stat cards, and we can get critical boosts when we use them ourselves. It's not a smart exchange. When Wantong shook her head. Teacher wins right. A single Wraith Essence orb holds more value for our team than multiple stat cards. Even several stat cards wouldn't be a fair trade for this orb, Lin Mu agreed. Then what do we have we can offer for trades? Chen Lu's shoulders drooped in disappointment. Ordinary food supplies. Su Qingli's gaze swept over the long row of refrigerators lining the aisle. Regular groceries? Chen Lu stared blankly, failing to follow her logic. We have more fresh food than we could ever eat as 4 people. Meanwhile, passengers on other trains might not have enjoyed a full, warm meal in days. Su Qingli spoke earnestly. You mean trade fresh ingredients for stat cards? When Wantong caught on. Exactly. Not every group arrived at a station abundant with groceries like we did. For crews stuck eating compressed biscuits for 2 straight days, fresh beef and crisp vegetables are treasures they'd gladly exchange stat cards to obtain. Su Qingli affirmed with a nod. Will this actually work? Would anyone really hand over stat cards just for basic food? Chen Lu hesitated. There's no way to know for certain, but with over 6,000 trade-capable trains online, there's bound to be someone willing to strike a bargain. Su Qingli finished. We might as well try. We lose nothing by posting the offer. Lin Mu made the final call. I've already submitted the forum post. Su Qingli's fingers tapped rapidly across the glowing screen. Her listing was concise, true to her usual reserved style. For sale, assorted fresh groceries, beef, vegetables, rice, seasonings, etc. Induction cookers and kitchenware available as bundle add-ons. Seeking stat cards, skill cards, or other equivalent rare items. Private message for negotiations. Barely 30 seconds after posting, the first comment popped up below the thread. Trading food for stat cards? Did a zombie bite your brain? More replies flooded in one after another immediately afterward. LMAO, who trade stat cards for food? Compressed biscuits fill your stomach just fine. This listing left me confused. Are you here to survive or run a restaurant? What good is food? It can't raise stats or unlock skills. Why would I trade valuable cards for it? Let's move on, folks. Just another person desperate for stat cards making silly offers. Chun Lu stuffed slices of beef into her mouth while watching the comment section refresh non-stop, her cheeks puffed out like a hamster. They're so rude. If they don't want to trade, they don't have to comment mean things, she mumbled around her food. It's understandable. In their minds, food only serves to stop hunger. Compressed biscuits and bottled water meet survival basics, so they see no value in fresh produce. When Wantong stirred green vegetables in her broth unfazed. But compressed biscuits can't compare to a hot pot feast, Chen Lu argued, shoveling another mouthful of beef to prove her point. If you posted that thought on the forum, you'd get flooded with even harsher comments, Su Qingli said in a calm tone. All the while, she kept uploading photos to the listing. First, a shot of the bubbling dual-flavor hot pot, showcasing beef rolls, shrimp paste balls, and colorful vegetables simmering in broth. Next, photos of the refrigerators crammed full of supplies, whole beef legs, lamb cuts, piles of seafood, and stacks of crisp fresh greens. Images guaranteed to make anyone surviving on compressed biscuits burn with envy. The comment section exploded instantly after the photos went live. Wait a minute. What kind of incredible supplies do you have? Wait a minute. What kind of incredible supplies do you have? A hot pot on a survival train. Are you joking? Good heavens. Is that genuine beef in your fridge? Not just printed pictures on biscuit packaging? I'm utterly jealous. I've eaten nothing but compressed biscuits for 2 days, and these photos are making me tear up. Are you even surviving out there? Your setup's nicer than the meals I had back home. Please, can I trade timber for a small portion of meat? Just 1 bite. I'm begging you. 5 timber's not nearly enough. I'll offer 10 timber for meat. 20 timber. 20 total. Reply to me, poster. They changed their minds so quickly, Chun Lu remarked. Before seeing the photos, they thought food was only for basic sustenance. Once they witnessed your feast, they realized their dry compressed biscuits were barely edible, Su Qingli said flatly. Still, no one's offered stat cards in private messages yet, when Wantong scanned her message inbox. Though dozens left comments and offered trades, every bid consisted of basic resources, timber, iron ingots, cloth, and similar common materials. Not a single stat card had been proposed. 6,000 second-tier trains online. There have to be people holding stat cards. Everyone's being far too rational to trade them away for food, Chen Lu sighed. No harm done if no trades pan out. Lin Mu picked up a slice of beef and placed it on Chen Lu's plate. Meat from Senior always tastes the best. Chen Lu brightened up again as she ate. The four continued enjoying their hot pot meal. Chen Lu finished an entire plate of beef rolls by herself, followed by 2 full servings of shrimp paste balls, until her stomach bulged out roundly. Too stuffed to sit upright, she flopped backward onto the carpet. I can't move another inch. She clutched her full belly and sighed happily. That's what you get for overeating, when Wantong shook her head with a laugh and stood to clear the tableware. Lin Mu rose to help, moving the induction cooker aside and wrapping leftover food with plastic wrap to store back in the fridges. Su Qingli remained seated before the light screen, occasionally tapping the panel to refresh the forum thread. The rich aroma of hot pot slowly faded, replaced by a gentle, homely warmth filling every corner of the carriage. Chen Lu lay on the carpet, rubbing her swollen stomach, and tilted her head to watch Su Qingli work the screen, bored with nothing else to do. Then she noticed Su Qingli's fingers freeze mid-tap. A split second later, a card appeared resting in Su Qingli's palm. It was a card Chen Lu recognized instantly. Chen Lu reacted faster than her brain could process the sight. She rolled upright off the carpet in one fluid motion, moving far quicker than someone stuffed full of food ought to manage. Sister Su, where did that come from? Chen Lu cried out excitedly. Lin Mu and Wen Wantong both turned their heads, sharing the same curious question in their eyes. I just traded for it. Su Qingli's tone stayed unruffled. What did you give them in exchange? Chen Lu scrambled over and leaned close to Su Qingli, eager for details. Su Qingli leaned back slightly, pressing a palm lightly against Chun-Lu's forehead to create a little distance between them. 3 gene of mixed vegetables, 3 gene of beef, 5 gene of rice, 1 bag of salt, a bottle of soy sauce, plus an induction cooker. Su Qingli listed every item one by one. Silence hung over the carriage for a brief moment. Then Chen-Lu erupted with excitement. Just all that ordinary food and kitchenware? You got an entire stat card in return? I can't believe it. She grabbed Su Qingli's arm and shook it wildly, acting as if she'd won a massive lottery jackpot. Sister Su, how did you pull off such an amazing trade? I thought we wouldn't score any stat cards tonight, yet you quietly secured one without saying a word. Chen-Lu rambled on, overjoyed. We've hit the jackpot this time, Wen Wantong sighed with emotion. After the initial burst of excitement, Chen-Lu stared at the attribute card and suddenly let out a long sigh. This trade's an absolute steal. I wish we'd stocked up more. We should have cleared out the whole supermarket. Chen-Lu smacked her chest in regret, acting as if she'd lost a fortune. Aren't we already fully supplied? We filled 20 refrigerators to the brim. Wen Wantong shook her head with a soft laugh. It's nowhere near enough. We needed at least 40. We really undershot our haul. Chen-Lu looked utterly crestfallen. Relax, we already got 1 card, far better than we'd hoped. We posted the exchange notice online, so we can wait and see if anyone else wants to trade tomorrow. It's not going anywhere, Lin Mu comforted them. Time slipped by as the 3 chatted casually. Outside the windows, the thick black fog lingered unchanging. Realizing how late it had grown, they decided to turn in for the night. I'm off to shower. Wen Wantong rubbed her sore shoulders. Me too. Su Qingli stood up. You two go ahead. I'll walk around a bit to digest my food. Chen-Lu waved them off. Soon, the sound of running water echoed from the bathroom, mixed faintly with Su Qingli's soft humming. Chen-Lu pricked up her ears, eyes widening instantly. Senior, listen. Sister Su's singing. I never thought I'd hear her hum like this. I hear it too. Lin Mu looked equally surprised. Su Qingli was an A-list celebrity. Singing was nothing out of the ordinary for her. But the scene, here on this train, late at night, her voice drifting out from the shower, felt utterly surreal. What song is that? I don't recognize the tune. Chen-Lu tilted her head, straining to make out the melody. Lin Mu listened closely before shaking his head. I don't know it either. Maybe a new, unreleased track of hers. Then we're her very first audience. Chen-Lu grew even more thrilled. The humming from the bathroom cut off abruptly, as if Su Qingli had overheard their conversation. Her voice drifted out a moment later, laced with embarrassment at being caught. Could the two of you stop lingering by the bathroom door eavesdropping? We weren't eavesdropping. We were just chatting out here fair and square. Chen-Lu shot back boldly. Silence hung in the bathroom for 2 beats, then 2 words floated out. Childish. Chen-Lu pulled a silly face at the door, then giggled to herself. By the time everyone had finished washing up, deep night had fallen. Chen-Lu made up the bed in her private room, curled up under the covers, and rolled around once, letting out a contented sigh. There's nothing like a real bed, 10 times comfier than the floor mats. She closed her eyes, trying to fall asleep, but tossed and turned endlessly, her mind buzzing with all the day's events. Most of all, her thoughts kept drifting to Lin Mu. I can't stand it anymore. I need to go find Senior, she mumbled to herself, climbing out of bed. She eased open her door, poking half her head out to scan the quiet corridor. Only the faint glow from the screen at the front of the carriage lit the space. The doors to the other 3 rooms stayed shut tight. Creeping along like a skittish little mouse, Chen-Lu padded silently down the hall to Lin Mu's door. Taking a deep breath, she raised a hand and knocked twice, softly. The door swung open. Before Lin Mu could ask what she wanted, Chen-Lu stepped forward on tiptoes and pressed a finger to his lips. Shoo, don't make a sound, she whispered, glancing nervously back at the empty corridor. She tugged him into his room and shut the door behind them. What are you doing over here this late? Lin Mu stared at her, baffled by her odd behavior. I want to dance with you. You didn't drink tonight, but you can still enjoy the mood without alcohol, Chen-Lu said matter-of-factly. Dance? Lin Mu blinked, confused. Yep, Chen-Lu nodded firmly. You really want to dance right now? Lin Mu's voice wavered slightly. Absolutely. I always keep my promises. Chen-Lu puffed out her chest proudly, pulling out the new phone she'd bought in Tokyo and scrolling through her playlist. I saved tons of backing tracks. Let me pick the first one. Her fingers swiped quickly across the screen as she muttered to herself. This one's too simple, that routine's too elaborate for such a small room, and this track doesn't have the right vibe. Lin Mu stood watching her hunt for music, not sure what to say. Found it. We'll start with this one. Chen-Lu set the phone on the nightstand and stepped back to the center of the room. The instrumental music began to play, and she started dancing. One lively routine followed another, fluid and expressive. Linmu finally understood what she'd meant earlier when she said some dances walked a fine line. The movements weren't overly exaggerated, but every sway of her body carried striking grace. Her wide, watery eyes never left Linmu's face. Each gentle shift blended shy innocence with deliberate, soft charm. Chun-Lu's cheeks burned bright red, yet she never faltered in her steps. "Senior, why aren't you watching me?" Chun-Lu sounded a little hurt. "I am watching, I swear," Linmu replied with difficulty. "Liar, your gaze keeps wandering away." Chun-Lu saw straight through him. She paused mid-dance, stepping up to him and bending down to meet his eyes from below. Linmu couldn't put into words how captivating the angle was. He could feel his calm rationality fraying rapidly. "Senior?" Chun-Lu tilted her head, blinking up at him curiously. Then Linmu moved closer to her. Looking back later, Chun-Lu could only describe what came next as getting exactly what she'd hoped for. Even if it left her worn thin, she'd truly come to dance, and the closeness afterward was everything she'd secretly longed for. But Linmu's formidable 134 strength stat made its presence known. Even holding back significantly, he left her drained. Track after track cycled through the phone. Chun-Lu had stored nearly 20 dance instrumentals on her device. Once she'd thought the collection was far too small, now she wished she'd saved fewer. In the room down the hall, Su Qingli leaned against her bedhead, eyes wide open despite her best efforts to sleep. Her Win Listener passive made her far more sensitive to sound than ordinary people, even without activating the skill intentionally. Her hearing was heightened countless times over. She couldn't block out the faint noises drifting through the thin walls, no matter how hard she tried. In the dead quiet of midnight, Su Qingli's cheeks flushed hot without warning. "Little troublemaker Chun-Lu," she grumbled silently to herself, unable to tell if irritation or quiet envy weighed heavier in her heart. She rolled over and pulled the covers over her head, hoping to muffle the distant sounds, but it did nothing to drown them out. "Su Qingli, you're being ridiculous," she chided herself inwardly, trying to redirect her wandering thoughts. "Stop thinking about Linmu. Don't think about him at all." Yet the harder she fought the thought, the clearer images of Linmu flooded her mind, looping endlessly. Linmu, Linmu, Linmu. Su Qingli's eyes flew open, glaring hard up at the ceiling as if it had wronged her deeply. A system notification pinged in her vision. She pulled up her status panel and watched the numbers shift. Su Qingli favorability +2. Current favorability, 40 bond target. Su Qingli, favorability has broken 40. Unlock new bond effect, critical gift. Su Qingli stared at the message for 3 full seconds before closing the panel silently. All she wanted was to march over and drag Chun-Lu out of Linmu's room to take her place. But an even stronger thought lingered. What if it had been her lying there beside him instead? She buried her entire face under the blankets once more. Chun-Lu favorability +2. Current favorability, 64-inch back in Linmu's room. Chun-Lu sprawled across the bed, resting her chin on a pillow and letting out weak, soft whimpers. "Senior, I'm worn out, my whole body aches." Her voice came out muffled and feeble, like a tiny cat that had been tossed around. "Where does it hurt?" Linmu reached out and stroked her hair gently. "Everywhere. Even when you hold back, your massive strength stat takes its toll on me." Chun-Lu rolled onto her back, staring at the ceiling listlessly. "I warned you not to push yourself so hard," Linmu said softly. "But I just wanted to make you happy." Chun-Lu pouted. Her eyes flickered with a sudden idea. "Senior, you should go find Teacher One." Linmu's expression stiffened slightly. "Don't tease me like that," he sighed helplessly. "I'm not teasing, I mean it seriously." Chun-Lu fixed her gaze on him, tone earnest. "Teacher Wen's favorability is already 60. I know how overwhelming that level of fondness feels, when my favorability toward you is only in the 40s. I wanted to stick by your side every second. At 60 points, her feelings must burn even brighter than mine. She can't possibly feel less strongly. But she's never said a word about it." Linmu shook his head. "Of course she won't speak up. Look at Teacher Wen's gentle, reserved personality. You'll never get her to make the first move. She's far too shy to confess her feelings. If you wait for her to approach you, you two'll never act on this until the world ends." Chun-Lu rolled her eyes. "Not everyone's bold enough to take the initiative like me. Teacher Wen's the quiet, bashful type through and through." "But," Linmu tried to interject. "No buts." Chun-Lu cut him off sharply, scrambling off the bed and pushing him toward the door. "Hurry over to her room. Don't leave a lady waiting. I'm planning to sleep alone tonight." She kept shoving him forward. "This is my room." Linmu reached the doorway, laughing helplessly as he pointed out the obvious. "It's mine now." "Shoo shoo." Chun-Lu flung the door wide. pushed him out into the hall, and slammed it shut behind him. Lin Mu stood in the silent corridor, staring at the closed door for 2 long beats before turning his gaze toward Wen Wantong's room across the hall. The carriage remained quiet, soft light from the front screen casting faint patterns across the carpet. Lin Mu lingered for a moment, then took slow steps forward. He paused outside Wen Wantong's door, lifting his hand and hesitating briefly before knocking 3 soft times. The door creaked open. Wen Wantong stood there wearing the same white button-up shirt she'd worn that day as nightwear. Her hair hung loose, still damp from her shower, and behind her glasses, her warm eyes widened slightly at the sight of him. She quickly forced her voice to sound casual. "Is something the matter?" Her tone stayed steady, yet her eyes darted away, unable to meet Lin Mu's gaze directly. Lin Mu took in her flustered demeanor, throat growing dry as Chun Lu's earlier words echoed in his head. He stepped fully into her room without invitation. Wen Wantong stumbled backward, nearly colliding with the wardrobe, trapped in the corner of the small room. What are you doing?" She pressed both palms lightly against his chest, trying to ease him back, voice trembling with nervousness. "I'm your teacher. Step back." Her words wavered even more. Lin Mu did not pull away. "Please go easy on me." When Wantong's tone softened completely, her hands shifting from pushing against him to clutching the front of his shirt, clinging on as if afraid her legs might give out beneath her. Down the opposite end of the corridor, in Su Qingli's room, she lay awake staring blankly at the ceiling, her fingers twisting the bedsheets hard enough to crease the fabric beneath the covers. Why is there a different person now? She wondered silently. The sounds carried clearly down the empty hall, amplified sharply by her wind listener enhanced hearing. As if unfolding right beside her bed, she rolled over and buried her head under the blankets, just as she had hours earlier. Yet the noise still seeped through. She pressed a pillow tight over her face instead, to no avail. What if he comes knocking at my door next? The thought made Su Qingli freeze entirely. Panic raced through her mind as she scrambled to weigh every outcome. If Lin Mu knocked, should she let him in? Opening the door might make her seem too forward, but turning him away could come off as cold and ungrateful, especially after seeing Chun Lu and when Wantong spend time with him. No, stop thinking like this. I'm not as reckless and bold as Chun Lu. Yet if she refused entry, would he feel hurt and disappointed? Su Qingli sunk deeper into her pillow and let out a quiet, muffled sigh. Another system notification chimed in her vision. Su Qingli favorability +5. Current favorability, 45-inch. Su Qingli closed the panel without a word, pressing the pillow harder against her face and pretending to have fallen fast asleep. Eventually, the faint noises from down the hall faded away entirely, and Lin Mu never came to knock at her door. The whole carriage sank into complete silence. Su Qingli lay awake in the dark for a very long time before exhaustion finally pulled her into slumber. The next morning, thick black fog still blanketed the scenery outside the windows, though faint streaks of pale light filtered through the haze to dimly illuminate the carriage interior. Su Qingli pushed open her door at the exact moment the door beside her swung open as well. Chun Lu stepped out from Lin Mu's room, hair messy and rubbing sleep from her eyes. Their gazes collided midair. Chun Lu froze mid-rub, a vivid flush of embarrassment spreading across her face instantly. "Good morning, Sister Su," she greeted stiffly, voice flat and awkward. Before Su Qingli could reply, the door diagonally across the hall opened. Lin Mu stepped out of Wen Wantong's room, looking up to spot the 2 women standing in their doorways. A heavy silence hung between the 3 of them as they stared at one another. Su Qingli broke the quiet first. "I'll use the bathroom first," she said evenly, turning to walk toward the wash area. The hem of her traditional Hanfu skirt fluttered gently behind her. Her poise and elegant bearing remained unshaken, as if nothing unusual had transpired the night before. Chun Lu was the first to spot the real-time favorability updates popping up on her status panel. "Wait a second, Sister Su's favorability shot up to 45, she blurted out in shock. Lin Mu blinked and pulled up his own panel to check. Bond target favorability values, Su Qingli, 45. It was only 38 last night. 7 whole points gained overnight. Chun Lu's voice rose with surprise. Su Qingli, who'd nearly reached the bathroom door, froze in her tracks. She quickened her pace and darted inside, slamming the door shut behind her. Chun Lu crossed her arms, tilting her head to eye Lin Mu suspiciously, her twin ponytails falling to one side with the movement. "Senior, did you sneak over to Sister Su's room after leaving teacher one last night?" she accused. "Of course not. Don't jump to wild conclusions." Lin Mu flicked her forehead lightly. The light tap made Chun Lu stumble backward a little, clutching her forehead. "Ow, you don't care about me at all. My body's still sore from last night." she fake whined, lower lip jutting out dramatically. Can you act serious for once? Lin Mu stared at her, worn out by her antics. You loved my playful side last night. Now you want me to be proper. Chen Lu stuck her tongue out at him teasingly. Lin Mu opened his mouth to retort, yet no words came to mind. The mischievous young girl grew bolder by the day, leaving him at a loss. Just then, when Wantong stepped out of her room, she'd put her glasses back on and twisted her hair into a simple loose bun, dressed in a fresh clean blouse and fitted skirt. The exact outfit she usually wore for school lessons. But her eyes held a complicated, unreadable look as they settled on Chen Lu. A cold twinge ran down Chen Lu's spine under her gaze. She suddenly remembered that she'd been the one who'd urged Lin Mu to visit Wantong's room the night before. Did Teacher Wen plan to scold her for meddling later? I'm going to wash up. Chen Lu blurted out and hurried toward the bathroom without another word. She spun around and bolted straight for the bathroom, darting off as quickly as a rodent fleeing a predator. The bathroom door slammed shut with a bang, leaving only Lin Mu and Wantong alone in the hallway. Wantong stared at the closed bathroom door, fell silent for a moment, then let out a soft sigh. She sure runs fast. Lin Mu said nothing, wisely choosing to stay quiet. Wantong pulled her gaze away and glanced at him, the tips of her ears faintly pink. Though her usual poise had returned to her expression, she quickly forced her voice to sound casual. I'll go make breakfast. Breakfast was several fried poached eggs Wantong had cooked on the induction stove. There was a serving for each of the four of them, paired with milk and sliced bread taken from the fridge. Simple, yet warm and steaming. The four sat cross-legged on the carpet around the low wooden table as before. Wantong sat to Lin Mu's left, nibbling her fried egg in small bites and sipping her milk every now and then. Her movements remained gentle and graceful, as if nothing out of the ordinary had happened the night prior. Chen Lu sat across from Lin Mu, munching on her bread while stealing glances at Wantong's expression, checking if she still held any lingering displeasure toward her. Su Qingli sat to Lin Mu's right, maintaining her usual cool, elegant bearing. She ate her fried egg while occasionally leaning toward the holographic screen, refreshing forum posts and checking for new private messages. Everything had seemingly returned to normal, at least on the surface. No new attribute card trades have popped up on the forum yet, Su Qingli reported calmly. No rush. Just leave the post up. Anyone willing to trade will reach out sooner or later, Lin Mu replied as he bit into his bread. Chen Lu took a huge gulp of milk, leaving a ring of white residue around her lips. She stuck out her tongue to wipe the cream away, then muttered under her breath. It tastes fine, but not as good as the milk you make, senior. Lin Mu's chopsticks froze midair. He drew a deep breath, lifting his hand, nearly tapping her forehead hard. Can you watch what you say? Lin Mu ground out each word through his teeth. Chen Lu had seen this coming. She leaned far back with her milk cup raised, dodging his hand, a triumphant grin spreading across her face. I'm only talking about milk. Just milk. What on earth were you thinking? Senior, your mind's always wandering to odd places. She turned the tables on him confidently. When Wantong, who'd just lifted her milk cup to drink, choked abruptly. She ducked her head, covering her mouth as she coughed repeatedly, her shoulders shaking, the pink hue spreading across the tips of her ears at a visible rate. Teacher Wen, are you all right? Chen Lu blinked, putting on an innocent look. I am fine. When Wantong pulled out a tissue to wipe her lips, her voice still trembling. Su Qingli kept her usual cool demeanor, fully turning her back to the group instead of merely leaning aside, continuing to browse the forum on the hologram. Judging by her back, she appeared the calmest of the three, yet her fingers swiped erratically across the screen, reloading the same post over and over without opening it once. Only she knew how steady she truly was. Seeing Lin Mu's gaze grow increasingly stern, Chen Lu quickly shifted the subject, setting down her milk cup and sitting up straight. Speaking of which, my favorability rose 2 points last night. It's 64 now. She pulled up her status panel to show everyone, sounding proud of herself. Looks like favorability over 60 doesn't only rise by 1 point each time. I gained 1 point before and 2 this time. She analyzed the trend confidently, having completely forgotten she'd almost gotten a tap to the forehead moments earlier. That just proves my fondness for you keeps growing stronger. It hasn't hit a plateau yet. She shook her twin ponytails proudly. It might just be a system glitch, Su Qingli replied flatly without turning around. You're just jealous, Sister Su. Chen Lu huffed. Then a thought crossed her mind, her eyes glinting with mischief. Hey Sister Su, what happened with you last night? Your favorability shot up 7 whole points, more than Teacher Wen and me combined, she asked eagerly. Quiet. Su Qingli's tone stayed soft and cool, yet her fingers froze on the hologram. All right, All right, I'll shut up. Chen Lu held up both hands in surrender, unable to suppress her grin. She took another big sip of milk, glancing sideways at Su Qingli's profile out of the corner of her eye, already plotting some new playful jab. But she'd already crossed the line twice that morning. If she kept teasing them, Lin Mu wouldn't be the only one frustrated. Su Qingli might even draw her sword. So Chen Lu wisely switched to a completely harmless topic. I wonder what the third station will be, and when they'll release the details. Chen Lu cradled her milk cup, tilting her head to watch the constantly updating information on the hologram. Following the pattern of the first two, the announcement should come 1 hour before we arrive, when Watong said. We only just finished the second station. I hope the third one is a little easier. Every stop's been a fight for survival. The mental strain is overwhelming, when Watong added. It's unlikely to get easier. The difficulty will only keep rising. Lin Mu shook his head. Our first station was a zombie town. The second filled with ghouls in Tokyo. The third will be even harder, Lin Mu said, popping the last piece of bread into his mouth. But we've grown much stronger too. You're level 31 now, senior. We can handle it. Chen Lu brimmed with confidence. She was currently level 12, though nearly 20 levels behind Lin Mu. That already put her among the top-tier players. What's more, she'd unlocked the substitute critical hit ability and demonic energy surge, capable of slaying an ordinary ghoul single-handedly. Let's open the treasure chest before the station info drops. When Watong set down her chopsticks, wiped her hands with a tissue, and steered the conversation back on track. Right? The chest, dropped by the Demon King. I nearly forgot entirely. Chen Lu shot up at once. My favorability's 64, so I can use my maximum critical multiplier. Lin Mu nodded and pulled the treasure chest from his backpack. The chest radiated a subdued glow, its intricate patterns flickering in the light, a clear sign its contents were extraordinary. Instead of grasping Lin Mu's hand, Chen Lu plopped down into the hollow space formed by his crossed legs on the carpet, fitting perfectly against him. What are you doing? Lin Mu gasped softly. Physical contact is required for critical hits. Chen Lu argued logically. We're already close companions. There's no need to only hold hands for show, she added. Wen Wantong and Su Qingli could only pretend not to notice the scene. Helpless, Lin Mu activated the chest. Treasure chest opened. Item obtained. B talent card sword bone. Favorability critical hit triggered. Current bond contact target. Chen Lu, favorability 64. Once per day use. Fixed maximum critical multiplier. This activation's critical multiplier, 64x. Obtained. B talent card sword bone times 64. The chest burst open suddenly. Dozens of pale golden glowing cards surged out, arcing through the air before scattering across the carpet. 64 copies. I knew the multiplier would be high, but seeing all these is still shocking. Chen Lu squirmed excitedly against Lin Mu's chest. Her twin ponytails brushed his chin and tickling him. Sit still. Lin Mu pressed a hand to the top of her head. I can't help being excited. This chest dropped from the Demon King. A 64-fold critical hit. We hit the jackpot. Chen Lu ignored his hand. When Wantong bent to pick up several cards and examine them closely, Su Qingli also lifted one, her gaze sweeping across its surface, her brows lifting slightly. Wait, this is a talent card? A genuine talent card. Chen Lu's eyes widened as she stared at the card. It is indeed a talent card. When Wantong's expression turned solemn as she studied the card carefully. The front of the card bore the engraving of an ancient longsword, faint golden veins flowing across its blade, with a line of small text printed on the reverse side. B talent card sword bone. Talent effect. Nurture sword chi within your bones. In combat, infuse your blade with sword chi to drastically boost its cutting power. Able to slice through any barrier and break all defenses. Note, sword chi cannot be released separately. A blade is required as a medium to deal damage. It really is a talent card, not a skill card, a talent. Chen Lu jumped off Lin Mu's legs, holding the card aloft and spinning around the carriage, her ponytails flying wildly. You're this thrilled, but do you even know the difference between talent cards and skill cards? Lin Mu asked. Of course I do. They're worlds apart. Skills are temporary abilities. Talents are innate. You can learn countless skills, yet each player possesses a single unique talent, Chen Lu explained. Plus, talents are etched into your very being, functioning as permanent passive abilities that activate without consuming spirit power, with all sorts of incredible effects. She planted her hands on her hips, looking thoroughly knowledgeable. Lu is correct. Judging by the description, this talent's power is extraordinary, especially that line about cutting through all barriers and defenses. When Wantong gathered the scattered cards one by one, stacking them neatly on the low table. This talent would suit Miss Sue perfectly. Exactly. Sister Sue's trained in swordsmanship for 5 years for filming roles. This sword bone talent was practically made for you. Chen-Lu realized instantly. Sword bone, sword chi, unbreakable cutting power. Su Qingli murmured the words softly, twirling the card between her slender fingers. Her expression remained calm and unruffled, yet the bright light shining in her eyes could not be concealed. Talents are unique, and Senior already has an SSS grade talent he can't replace. This one's perfect for you, Sister Sue, Chen-Lu went on. But then Chen-Lu's brows furrowed as a new thought crossed her mind. Can talent cards stack and upgrade the way skill cards do? She tilted her head to study the card. My talent panel has no text mentioning stacking or upgrades, Lin Mu pointed out. Your talent is SSS grade, likely the highest tier possible, so it makes sense it can't be upgraded. It can't serve as a reference. When Wantong shook her head. What about this B-grade sword bone talent? Can it level up? Chen-Lu's confusion lingered. Check the database. Now that the train's reached level 3, we unlocked the reference library. We can find explanations for nearly everything inside. When Wantong walked over to the holographic screen, she tapped the screen rapidly, opening the database interface. A search box appeared at the center of the hologram, with a dense list of categorized tabs alongside it. Basic attributes, skills, talents, train upgrades, crafting system, trade forum. When Wantong tapped the talents category, typing talent upgrade quickly on the virtual keyboard, a single entry popped up moments later. Talent upgrade instructions. Talents may be upgraded by stacking identical talent cards, following the same upgrade rules as skill cards. However, due to the uniqueness of talents, once you commit to one talent path, you may only continue upgrading that single talent. Caution. Talents exert a profound, lasting influence on players, far more impactful than skills. All players must exercise extreme caution and careful thought before selecting a talent path. It can upgrade, just like skill cards, stack matching talent cards to level it up, Chen-Lu shouted. But it also warns talents are permanent. Once you pick one, you can never change it. When Wantong's gaze settled on the cautionary note. Sister Sue, what do you think? Chen-Lu turned to Su Qingli and asked. Su Qingli did not reply immediately. Her fingertips brushed the engraved sword pattern on the talent card, her expression a mix of contemplation and longing. A quiet hush fell over the carriage until Lin Mu spoke. Fairy Su, do you want this talent? Lin Mu asked earnestly. Su Qingli lifted her head. I do. But, she began, then glanced toward Wen Wantong and Chen-Lu. Teacher Wen and Lu don't have talents yet. Swordbone fits me well, but it might suit you two too. Especially you, Lu. You wield a machete now, and while it differs from a sword, it's still a blade. If you took Swordbone, you could switch to a sword and grow far stronger. Su Qingli voiced her hesitation. Sister Su, what are you saying? This is Swordbone. The name alone matches you best. I use a machete. Our styles don't fit at all. Chen-Lu shook her head rapidly. She glanced down at her machete, pictured herself wielding a sword, then shook her head harder. No way. I can't even imagine myself with a sword. Machetes suit me much better. There's nothing quite like the thrill of cleaving foes down in one swing. That matches my style. What sort of style is that? Lin Mu couldn't help asking. The fierce warrior maiden style. Chen-Lu answered without hesitation. When Wantong laughed at her reply and shook her head, then turned back to Su Qingli to offer her perspective. Miss Su, Lu and I already have reliable means to defend ourselves. I carry an air cannon, possess demonic energy surge, and I'm level 13. Lu also has demonic energy surge and is level 12. We can both hold our own in battle. But your base stats remain average for an ordinary person. Even with refined swordsmanship, without sufficient power to back it up, your skill can never reach its full potential. When Wantong then gently placed the card she held directly into Su Qingli's palm. This talent would merely boost Lu and me, but it will fill a critical gap for you. Besides, with Lin Mu's critical hit ability, we're certain to find more talent cards in the future. There's no rush to hold on to this one, When Wantong said firmly. Exactly, don't turn it down, Sister Sue. Didn't you say resources should go to the most suitable recipient as a core survival strategy? You're the perfect match for Swordbone. What's there to hesitate over? Chen-Lu hurried over and pressed the cards in her own hands into Su Qingli's grasp as well. Su Qingli stared at the two cards pressed into her palms, then glanced at the mountain of 62 identical cards stacked on the low table. She lifted her head to meet Lin Mu's eyes. Lin Mu nodded at her. He said nothing, yet his silent gesture conveyed complete support. Very well, I'll accept them. Su Qingli drew a deep breath. Su Qingli favorability +5. Current favorability 50. A quiet system notification flashed across the panel. Whoa. Sister Su's favorability hit 50. It was 45 just a moment ago, a 5-point jump all at once. Chen Lu spotted the alert first. 50 favorability unlocks experience sharing. Congratulations, Miss Su. When Wantong's lips tugged upward as she read the panel number. It's only 50, far lower than both of yours. Su Qingli pretended to dismiss it. 50 is plenty, and your favorability climbs so quickly, you might catch up to us soon. Chen Lu grinned widely. Speaking of sudden jumps, your favorability always spikes out of nowhere. Like last night. Chen Lu brought up the previous night again. Be quiet. Su Qingli cut her off sharply. Okay, I'll stop talking. Chen Lu held up her hands in surrender, unable to erase her amused smile. Enough teasing. Miss Su, activate the talent card now. When Wantong stepped in timely to defuse the light-hearted tension and redirect the conversation. Su Qingli nodded and gripped the talent card tightly in her hand. Use B talent card Swordbone. Yes/no. She selected yes. The card dissolved into a pale golden stream of light, flowing from her palm up her arm and spreading through her entire body. The glow was soft rather than blinding, carrying a gentle warmth, as though a brand new power was taking root deep within her bones. Su Qingli closed her eyes, distinctly sensing a brand new force awakening inside her. It was an extremely faint current winding through her skeleton, growing denser and more solid with every breath she drew. Talent activated, Sword Bone Grade B. Talent effect, nurture sword chi within your bones. Infuse sword chi into blades in combat to drastically boost cutting power, capable of cleaving through all obstacles. Stacking identical talents allows upgrade to Grade A. Current upgrade progress, January 7th. We got it. Stacking the same talent raises its rank to A, progress 1 out of 7. Same rule as skill cards. Chen Lu leaned forward toward the stat panel displayed by Su Qingli, pointing at the line of text at the bottom. Keep going. Su Qingli opened her eyes and said. She picked up another talent card and used it. Current upgrade progress, February 7th, 3rd card. Current upgrade progress, March 7th, 4th card. Current upgrade progress, April 7th, 5th card. Current upgrade progress, May 7th, 6th card. Current upgrade progress, 6th, 7th, 7th card. Current upgrade progress, July 7th. Talent upgrading. Grade B talent Sword Bone Grade A talent, Sword Light. Like bright moon, a pale golden radiance burst forth from Su Qingli, far brighter than it had been before. The glow no longer carried a gentle warmth. It turned sharp, as if an invisible sword hummed resonantly inside her body. Once the light faded, Su Qingli stared down at her palms. She could feel the sword chi nurtured in her bones had completely transformed. It was no longer a wispy stream requiring careful tending, but a condensed blade intent ready to surge out of her body at any moment. She swept a hand through the air to project her talent panel for the other three to see. Talent. Sword Light like bright moon Grade A talent effect. Manifest tangible sword chi shining like the full moon. Summon sword chi freely without needing to channel it through a blade. Note. A stream of sword chi surges skyward, glowing as brilliantly as moonlight. Stacking identical talents allows upgrade to Grade S. Current upgrade progress. 1/9 sword chi takes physical form and glows like moonlight. We don't even need a sword to unleash it. Chen Lu read aloud. Does that mean anything can serve as a blade, just like the legends say? Chen Lu read aloud the panel description. And it can be upgraded all the way to S rank. When Wantong's eyes lit up. We still have 57 cards left. That should be more than enough. Chen Lu quickly calculated the numbers. Let's continue, Lin Mu said. Su Qingli nodded and kept using the talent cards. 7 Grade B Sword Bone cards consumed. Current upgrade progress. 2/9 another 7 Grade B Sword Bone cards consumed. Current upgrade progress. 3/9 another 7 Grade B Sword Bone cards consumed. Current upgrade progress. April 9th. Pale golden light flared again and again, each burst more dazzling than the last. The air inside the carriage trembled faintly with the flow of sword chi, and the refrigerator door emitted a low, thrumming hum in sympathetic resonance. Chen Lu subconsciously edged closer to Lin Mu. Senior Lin, Su's sister's talent upgrade creates way more commotion than when you upgraded your air cannon, she whispered quietly. Talents and skills exist on different tiers. My talent is supportive, only raising the team's resource-gathering efficiency. Lin Mu kept his gaze fixed firmly on Su Qingli. Hers is a combat-focused talent that directly amplifies fighting strength, so this much disturbance is normal, Lin Mu added. 7 more cards. Current upgrade progress. May 9th, 7 more cards. Current upgrade progress. 6 out of 9, 7 more cards. Current upgrade progress. 7 out of 9, 7 more cards. Current upgrade progress. August 9th. The pile of talent cards on the low table shrank steadily, while the sword chi swirling around Su Qingli grew thicker and denser. When the final 7 cards dissolved into light and flooded into her body, a surging column of sword chi shot straight up from her frame. The chi did not damage a single object, yet everyone present felt a bone-deep shudder ripple through their souls. When Wantong instinctively stepped back 1 pace, her hands shaping the outline of a pistol behind her back, Chen-Lu ducked entirely behind Lin Mu, only peeking out half her face. Even Lin Mu frowned faintly. The Azura power dormant within him stirred restlessly under the pressure of that sword chi. The radiance slowly faded, leaving Su Qingli standing there wrapped in a faint silver halo. She opened her eyes. A minuscule streak of sword-shaped light flickered briefly within her pupils. Talent upgrade complete. Grade A talent. Sword light. Like bright moon. Grade S talent. Clarity of sword heart. Su Qingli waved a hand to display her brand new talent panel. Talent. Clarity of sword heart. Grade S talent effects. 1. Condense sword chi into a tangible sword heart. Attacks fueled by the sword heart deal double damage. 2. Channel the sword heart to infuse any bladed weapon, granting the ability to levitate and control swords remotely. 3. May nurture up to 3 separate sword hearts in the future. 3 distinct abilities. First, double damage. Second, sword levitation. Third, multiple sword hearts. When Wantong scanned each line, her excitement growing clearer by the second. Sword control. Su sister, does this mean we can ride swords through the air? Chen-Lu darted out from behind Lin Mu in a rush. Can you take me with you? I've never ridden a flying sword before. Well, I've flown on planes, but that's nothing like a flying blade. Chen-Lu rambled in her excitement. I'm not certain myself. I just unlocked this talent and haven't tested its limits yet. Su Qingli pried her hands away. Then try it right now. Chen-Lu stepped back 2 paces and gestured for her to begin. The sword chi's destructive power is far too great to test safely inside the train carriage. Su Qingli shook her head, glancing at the metal walls surrounding them. That's fair, Chen-Lu agreed. But what about the sword levitation ability? Could we try that? Lin Mu suddenly spoke up, equally curious. Exactly, let's see it work. I want to watch a sword float. Chen-Lu's face lit up with eager anticipation. When Wantong said nothing, yet her eyes held the same quiet curiosity. Very well, I will give it a try, Su Qingli nodded. Deep down, she burned with curiosity as well. She drew a deep breath and closed her eyes. The sword heart inside her grew crystal clear to her senses. A tiny silver blade suspended in her dantian, translucent and glowing softly. Clarity of sword heart. Where her thoughts wandered, her sword followed. Su Qingli opened her eyes and pulled an ordinary iron sword from her backpack. The mass-produced basic blade Lin Mu had forged earlier through the crafting system. The instant her sword heart channeled power into it, everything changed. A silver stream of light flowed from her palm into the blade, illuminating the entire weapon in an instant. The rough, unpolished metal took on a subdued inner glow, and a faint silver sharpness shimmered along its cutting edge. Su Qingli released her grip. The iron sword did not fall. It hovered suspended mid-air, tip pointed upward, trembling slightly as it let out a clear, ringing sword song. It's floating. It's really floating. Su sister, look, the sword is flying. Chen-Lu's voice trembled with delight. She's the one controlling it. She can clearly see it, Lin Mu said. Lin Mu rested a hand lightly on Chen-Lu's head to stop her from throwing herself forward in excitement. Under Su Qingli's mental command, the iron sword drifted slowly through the carriage, sliding left and right, rising and falling, and finally tracing a perfect full circle in the air. Her control was still clumsy, yet the fundamental mechanics of remote manipulation were clearly functional. Incredible, absolutely incredible. You're amazing, Su sister. Chen-Lu clapped her hands and shouted joyfully. This is only basic sword levitation, yet its combat potential is boundless. It can launch long-distance strikes, shield teammates, or even serve as a scouting tool, when Wantong watched with undisguised admiration. If aerial travel via sword becomes possible, our overall mobility will surge, Lin Mu analyzed thoughtfully. Su Qingli guided the iron sword through several more loops before drawing it back into her grasp. The silver radiance faded from the blade, reverting it back to a plain common iron sword. This is all I can manage for now. There are hard limits on flight distance and duration, Su Qingli said. and I still need plenty of practice to refine my precision. Su Qingli sounded slightly dissatisfied with her current skill. It's already astounding, truly worthy of an S-rank talent. Once you master this properly, you have to take me flying with you. Chen Lu threw her arms around Su Qingli. I will, if it can carry passengers, Su Qingli promised with a nod. Su sister, is your sword heart what controls the flying blade? It's unbelievable. Chen Lu bombarded her with more questions. Su Qingli simplified the mechanics as best she could to explain the process. I channel power through my sword heart to link the external blade to the one inside me. Once connected, I can remotely steer the sword using my internal sword heart, Su Qingli said. Sort of like flying a drone with a remote controller? Chen Lu had a sudden thought. Much the same idea, Su Qingli nodded. Only one grade B sword bone talent card remained on the low table, and when Wantong picked it up. We can't advance the talent further with just one left, let's store it away for now, when Wantong explained. Later we can either gather more sword bone cards to keep upgrading Miss Su's talent, or trade it on the forum for other supplies. Grade B talent cards hold far greater value than Grade D skill cards, when Wantong added. Chen Lu suddenly smacked her forehead and spun towards Su Qingli. I almost forgot. Su sister, you haven't used a condensed ghost orb yet. The one that dropped from the ghoul I defeated is still in my bag. Your favorability stat unlocked critical gift bonuses already, so you can trigger a critical boost once every day. Chen Lu pulled it out. She pulled the dark orb out of her backpack and held it out like a treasure offering. Little Lu is right. Both of us already possess ghost aura. Using another orb would only extend our power's duration. You have no ghost aura whatsoever, so this orb will create a fundamental shift. Combined with your S-rank clarity of sword heart talent, the all-stat enhancement from ghost aura buffs would push your combat power to extraordinary heights. When Wantong seconded her gently, laying out the logic clearly. Su Qingli stared at the glowing black orb, fell silent, then reached out. I'll accept it then, she did not decline. She had already accepted the power of an S-rank talent, so hesitation over a single orb would feel hollow and insincere. That's the spirit. Chen Lu grinned widely, looking thoroughly pleased. Su Qingli lowered her gaze to the orb. Su Qingli was ready to activate it, when her expression shifted abruptly. The change was subtle, yet all three others noticed it instantly. What's wrong? Lin Mu spoke first. Su Qingli did not answer immediately. She swept a hand through the air to project her stat panel. S-rank talent, clarity of sword heart, detected within host body. This talent holds opposing elemental alignment to ghost aura energy. Warning. Activating a condensed ghost orb may damage your talent or trigger violent ghost aura backlash. Usage is not recommended. Proceed at your own risk if forced. A hush fell over the carriage. Then Chen Lu was the first to cry out. Conflict? Clarity of sword heart clashes with ghost aura? How is that possible? Her eyes stretched wide with shock. When Wantong began to analyze the situation thoughtfully, clarity of sword heart is a swordsmanship talent aligned with upright, pure energy. Ghost aura originates from the Ghost King and carries dark, sinister properties. By their core natures, the two forces are fundamentally incompatible. When Wantong pondered aloud. Let me test something. Chen Lu grabbed the card. Use grade B talent card swordbone? Yes/no see? My panel only asks if I want to use the card. No conflict warning at all. Chen Lu displayed her screen for the group before setting the card aside, without activating it. Swordbone is merely grade B. The talent's core traits have not fully manifested yet. Only after advancing to S-rank clarity of sword heart does its inherent energy alignment fully awaken, creating resistance against ghost aura, when Wantong reasoned. That makes sense, Su Qingli agreed. I've been thinking, what if Miss Su hadn't been the one using the swordbone cards, but either Lu or I instead? When Wantong posed a hypothetical question, she left the thought unfinished, yet everyone grasped its terrible implication at once. Chen Lu's face paled instantly. You mean if Teacher 1 or I had upgraded swordbone, we might hit a conflict warning once we reached A or S rank, blocking any further talent progression? Her voice rose slightly in alarm. That is highly likely, when Wantong answered grimly. If we had invested all those cards to reach grade A sword light like Bright Moon, we would have received the conflict alert and been stuck with no way to push the talent to S rank. We would have wasted countless rare talent cards with no path forward. Chen Lu exclaimed. We're incredibly lucky then. It fell to Miss Su to cultivate swordbone, and she has no ghost aura to create a conflict. By pure chance, we chose the optimal path for everyone, when Wantong sighed in relief. What should we do with this condensed ghost orb now? There's no other option. One of you two should take it. It would go to waste sitting and used. Su Qingli handed the orb back to Chen Lu without the slightest trace of reluctance. At that exact moment, a bright white light flashed across the large screen. The emotionless mechanical system voice echoed through the compartment once more, and all four fell silent at once. System announcement. Starting at the next station, the Zone 67 Regional Rankings Tournament will commence. Prior to the tournament, the system will assess combat strength to generate preliminary rankings. Below are Zone 67's top 10 preliminary ranked trains. First place, Clan Vessel 2nd place, Godslayer Vessel 3rd place, Wind Whisperer Vessel 4th place, Easy Life Vessel 5th place, Dragon Spine Vessel 6th place, Night Watcher Vessel 7th place, Blade of Firmament Vessel 8th place, Phoenix Vessel 9th place, Holy Light Vessel 10th place, All Villains Vessel. Silence hung in the carriage for a beat. Then Chen Lu erupted with excitement. We're first place. We ranked number 1. Senior Lin. Look, we're Zone 67's top train. Her twin ponytails whipped wildly as she bounced around. I see it. Though I honestly didn't expect us to claim first spot, Lin Mu pressed a hand to her head to stop her from crashing into the refrigerator. It's hardly surprising. Our lineup is formidable. You at level 31, myself at level 13, Lulu at level 12, and Miss Su with a brand new S-rank talent. Any other train outranking us would be unthinkable. When Wantong's lips tugged upward in a faint self-assured smile. Agreed, it was only a matter of time. Su Qingli nodded in concurrence. Still, how exactly will this regional rankings tournament operate? When Wantong furrowed her brow in confusion. No details yet. The announcement only stated it will launch soon, with no official rules released. Su Qingli shook her head. The very same question rippled across every train in Zone 67. The public communication channel descended into total chaos. Messages refreshed so rapidly no one could read each line fully. Walls of text scrolling down the screen like an unending waterfall.